Emerson J. Dillon Middle School with the performance of both the national anthem and God Bless America. As we get closer to puck drop tonight, Crunch taking on the Canal Mules identity tonight against the Rochester Americans. Let's get you the starting lineups first for the Amherst. Rochester at a 27-24, 5-4 record. Rochester has won back-to-back games, finally snapping out of a pretty lengthy funk. They only had one win in, what was it, 12 or 13 games after they lost to the Crunch last Friday. But back-to-back wins since then. They picked up a big win against Toronto last night on home ice. And for the Amherst on defense, they will start Zach Metza and Ryan Johnson. Forwards, Jagger Joshua, Riley Fiddler Schultz, and Trevor Kuntar. Very much an energy line for the Amherst that has been very effective this year for Rochester. Scott Ratzlaff gets the start for Rochester, his second straight against the Crunch. He was in that game last Friday in Rochester. He is 4-3-1 on the year, 3.46 goals against average, and an .880 save percentage. Crunch starters for them tonight. Ian Mitchell gets the call with Matteo Petronero. Forwards Lucas Mercury, Tristan Allard, and Dylan Duke. They get reunited tonight in front of Ryan Fanti. 12-12-1 record with a 2.44 goals against average and a .903 save percentage. Canal Mules jerseys for the Crunch. Blue jerseys, cream stripe, cream arms, a 315 stripe along the arms as well as the Crunch when the face-off and we're underway. The standing mule logo on the crest of the jersey for the Crunch. Fired in, moving from left to right in the opening period. Rochester, the road, white jerseys, blue pants, white helmets. Comes in behind the Rochester goal, and the Amherst cleared up the near line. Up to the right point for Ian Mitchell. He keeps it alive. Mitchell tries to thread the needle. It was blocked by Joshua. Puck stays in. There's a penalty behind the play as Mercury got taken down. A cross-check on Ryan Johnson, and 23 seconds in, a power play coming for the Crunch. Mercury back to his skates now at the left circle. So a power play coming for the Crunch. 23 seconds in, a cross-check on Ryan Johnson, and a great chance for the Crunch coming out of the gates here in the first period, which is brought to you by the Wildcat Pizza Pub. Check them out in Camillus. Last night they had a double-minor power play in the opening couple of moments of the game. They could not capitalize. So that changes here tonight. 5 forward personnel to start the power play as always. It is Matthew Pekka, Mitchell Chafee, Dylan Duke, Connor Ginky, and Jacob Peltier. Crunch with the face-off. Ginky has control, left circle. He shoots, and a save made, and it is held up by Ratzlaff, and another cross-check up high. That time it was Komarov on Dylan Duke, as Duke was looking for a puck at the crease. There was a couple of sticks in the vicinity of Ratzlaff, who now peels out of there, skating toward the boards and then trying to get back into his crease. Here he comes. Another face-off left circle. 5 seconds off the penalty clock. And another left circle face-off. Matthew Pekka having a quick chat with Jacob Peltier back of the blue line. Now he lines over the left circle against Jake Lecision. Crunch with another face-off. Comes across, corralled to the right point by Connor Ginky. Works down the right wall, Wahlberg defending. Ginky works to the right corner. Backhand pass, left side, Chafee. Center point, Peltier shoots and scores! 39 seconds and a power play goal for Jacob Peltier. And the Canal Mules off and running with a 1-0 lead. The scoring streak extends, and Peltier, the league's leading scorer, gets his 72nd point. And what a start for the Canal Mules tonight. It's 1-0. So Peltier with a rip. Couple of face-offs won by the Crunch on the power play, and then Chafee set up Peltier, who just drills it home. Duke was at the kind of the top of the crease, just to the left of Ratzlaff. I don't think he tipped that. It's a Peltier blast, and it's 1-0 Crunch as the Amherst hit the puck into the offensive zone. What a start. Opening minute of the game. It's 1-0 Syracuse. Puck in behind the Crunch net, back to the line and out of the zone. Jones sends it across. Launen, right wing. It's tipped it over the line. Far side corner for Ethan Sampson, who draws back in for the Crunch tonight in place of Simon Lundmark. Couple of changes to the Crunch line. A puck out in front. Helenius couldn't quite grab it in the slot. Feeds right wing Launen. Lies it down the right boards. Around to the near side now for Connor Ginky. Ginky's got a full cage on his helmet tonight. Got hit up high yesterday as Jones feeds right wing. One-timer blocked. Zach Jones follows up. Rochester's leading scorer. The defenseman hands it off to Wahlberg. Back to the line. Launen shoots it, redirected wide left. Good shift for the Amherst. Left point Launen. Shoots it back down low behind the net. Tenori in after it, far side. Helenius is there. Helenius took down Tenori, who kind of got tied up with his stick. Crunch get the puck. finally get it left to right to center ice. Ethan Sampson to the red line, rips it in. Ratzlaff couldn't quite slow it up. Look out, a puck comes off an hammer, can ricochet back into the crease. Ratzlaff had a scramble there to gobble it up in the blue paint. He was behind the net when that puck started changing direction back toward the yawning cage off of Rochester's captain, Zach Metza. And Ratzlaff got back in to cover it up. Metza has spent really most of this season up with Buffalo. A big part of this Rochester team, obviously. Still a young player, but a captain for the Amherst. And off his face-off, Rochester gets control. And Metza clears to center ice. Metza playing just his 18th game of the year for the Amherst. A lot of the year set up in Buffalo. This one is fired back into the offensive zone by the Crunch. Ethan Gauthier gets a steal. Gauthier's got a man out in front. He comes all the way to the right point. Held to the blue line by Tommy Miller. Walks and shoots wide left. Gauthier gets the puck. He swivels in behind the goal. Gauthier getting a chance tonight with Nick Abruzzese and Matthew Pekka. Dangerous forwards for the Crunch. Right wing Abruzzese finds Pekka. Back to the point. Groshev shoots, scores! A tip by Ethan Gauthier, and it's 2-0. 2:25 in. Gauthier tipped it right in front of Ratzlaff, and what a start! 2 early strikes by the Crunch. First Peltier and now Gauthier on the redirect in front of Ratzlaff, and the Crunch could not have drawn up a better start tonight. They've got the 2-0 lead. So just saying, Gauthier getting an opportunity with what I would think, if you consider first, second, third, and fourth lines, would be considered the Crunch's second line with Pekka and Abruzzese. Dylan Duke's been there the last couple of games. Tonight it's Ethan Gauthier, and Gauthier strikes right away. Now the gloves drop. Off his face-off, Jared Tenardi and Mason Gertzen squaring up with the Crunch defensive zone now. Haven't engaged yet. They're drifting all the way to the bottom of the far circle. Now they get together. Tenardi getting his right arm free. Tries to land a body blow. Now Gertzen gets a right. No one's really thrown a punch. Now Gertzen gets a right across to Tenardi. Tenardi still has his right kind of tied up and now loose again. Wild roll by Gertzen. Gets it right across the face of Tenardi. Tenardi defending hard here against Mason Gertzen. Now a couple of rights. Now Tenardi gets his elbow guard off, and now he gets Gertzen with a right. He went down to his knee, gets back up, and the officials hop in. Well, once Tenardi got that elbow pad off, got that arm free, and he clocked Gertzen. 2.5 minutes in. 5 minutes for both of those guys. The Crunch have the 2-0 lead. And boy, this place is juiced up. Officials are going to try to get all the players away from the penalty boxes. The Crunch, or Canal Mules, have the 2-0 lead. 2 early goals. Peltier and Gauthier now a fight by Jared Tenardi against Mason Gertzen. Caught him right in the face of that right to Jared Tenardi, and you may have heard the oohs and ahs as they show the replay here in the building. Now Gertzen trying to get his team energized after a sluggish start for Rochester, but it's 2-0 Crunch, and the fans are still into it as well as the Crunch busted out. Here comes Gabriel Sturz. Left to right, gains the line. Drops it off to Matteo Petronero. Got under his stick, and it's intercepted to the slot. Caleb Lawrence turns it up ice for the Amherst. Dumps it into the offensive zone. 2-0 Crunch. Just shy of 3 minutes into the opening period. Sturz around the near side. Passes up ahead. Max Grondin through the neutral zone in his AHL debut tonight. Only his 4th pro game. A couple of games with ECHL Atlanta. Icing against the Crunch. 3:05 gone in the first. And the Crunch have a 2-0 lead. So Grondin in his first AHL game, coming out of Canadian University Hockey. Played at the University of Ottawa for the last couple of years. OHL before that. Signed with Atlanta after his collegiate season ended. And then a PTO with the Crunch last week. Amherst with a face-off. Jones shoots it. Gets redirected by Fiddler Schultz. Up into the netting, out of play. And a face-off coming up in the offensive zone again for the Amherst. But that does allow the Crunch to make a change. So 2-0 Syracuse. Just over 3 minutes gone. Kind of a stop and start first period. There's been a ton of whistles. A couple of goals in there as well, which is obviously stop play. Crunch will take that. And a left circle face-off by Fiddler-Schultz against Lucas Mercury. Fiddler-Schultz wins it back to the left point for Jones. He shoots. That one right on. A save made by Fanti. Kuntar got in the grill of Fanti. A little bit of a bump. And more jousting. Ornery Emmerts at the moment down 2-0 in the opening 3 minutes of the game. And Trevor Kuntar, who is unafraid of getting involved in some of the dirty stuff, as we've seen through the first 9 games of the season series, trying to light a spark as well. Fiddler-Schultz against Mercury. Now Kuntar and Groshev at the near circle, hacking and whacking. The puck is dropped. They still joust at each other. Ethan Sampson takes the puck behind the net. Kuntar all over him now. Reverse back behind for Groshev. Kuntar lands a check. Now Groshev spinning around. What a play by Groshev. Then he ladles it up the far wall. No one quite there for the crunch as Joshua put on the heavy pressure. Puck left wing. Grabbed by Dylan Duke and he scoops it out. Tristan Allard in pursuit. Then he took down an Amherst. It'll be a trip against Allard. Oh, they get him a hold against Allard. He stumbled as he was trying to get past Noah Lowen and dragged down Lowen. And now Kuntar and Groshev back into each other's grills again. Now Lowen coming after Duke. Now Mercury gets Lowen in a headlock. Look out. Things escalating quickly along the near boards. Now Kuntar wants another piece of Groshev. And the officials are going to have their hands full. It's going to be a long night for them. There's going to be additional penalties now out of this. 3:36 into the game. It's 2-0 Canal Mules. And all sorts of chaos already between these two longtime rivals. So hold against Allard was the initial penalty. And roughing calls to Lowen and Mercury. And that'll, at the end of that, get Rochester on the power play for the first time tonight. Rochester is 4th in the league on the man advantage at 22.7%. So a chance to cut into this deficit. It'll be Fiddler-Schultz to take this face-off in the left circle. Crunch penalty killers, Matthew Pekka and Mitchell Chafee with Ian Mitchell and Matteo Petronero. Fiddler-Schultz in the left circle. And it is won back by the Amherst. Left point for Jones. He walks the line, flips in left wing. Consta Helenius down in the left wing corner. Nadeau back up the left wall for Helenius. At the left point, center point Jones. A pass behind Kuntar. Rolls to the left corner. Tying up there is Ian Mitchell. Battle for possession. 3 players for both sides of the area. Now Kuntar gets knocked out of the ice. Puck jammed up to the left point. Jones keeps it alive. Walks back toward the middle. Flips it left wing for Helenius. Back across to Jones. To Helenius again. Straight on. He holds and feeds down to the bottom of the left circle. Whip back in front. A chance. Save made by Fanti. They jam a loose puck. Comes free to the right circle now. Helenius in the right corner. Swings it back right circle. Center point Jones. 40 on to the power play. Right side Helenius. 2-0 Crunch in the first. Steps to the circle again. Pekka defending. Slip back to the point Jones. Left side Helenius. Looking across, holds and feeds down to the left goal line again. Left side chance denied by Petronero. Crunch desperate for a clear now. Just about a minute gone to the power play. Emmerts keep in. Jones straight on right wing chance. A one-timer drilled high by Fiddler-Schultz. Around it comes to the left point. Heavy pressure by Rochester. Helenius at the left hash. Out along the left wall, back to the left point for Jones. Down to the right again for Fiddler-Schultz. To Jones, left circle Helenius. Stepping toward the dot, down to the goal line again. A reverse pass denied by Pekka. Back to Jones, a long shot, tipped to the goal. It was redirected by Nadeau. And Rochester, with all sorts of power play pressure, makes it 2-1. The entire minute and 23 seconds that power play was in the defensive zone for the Crunch and could just never get a stick on the puck to get it clear. And then Nadeau tips it home. It's 2-1, 5 minutes gone in the opening period. So Rochester gets a huge answer on a tip in front by Olivier Nadeau. 2-1 game, and we are just a second shy of the 5-minute mark of the first period. All sorts of chaos like we said so far. That's a big-time strike for Rochester. Their power play was humming along. Get back to center ice with his face-off. Nick Abruzzese will join Connor Ginky now and Jacob Pelletier. Mitchell Chafee was just out there on the penalty kill for what must have felt like an eternity. It was a minute and 23 seconds. And a Crunch, again, just could never get a stick on the puck to get it clear. Amherst with the center ice face-off. They come right back in over the line, down the right wing, thrown to the right circle. Decision dumps it across the net mouth, all the way to the left wing side. Another penalty upcoming. This is going to be on the crunch again. Well, you just gave up a power play goal to a man advantage that is buzzing clearly, and now you've got another delay call against the crunch. Johnson goes across the gray to the right wing in the neutral zone and back in the D zone for Zach Metza. Metza has control, whips it across for Anton Wahlberg. Delay call against the crunch. 5.5 minutes gone in the first period. Momentum swinging back in Rochester's favor now. As Hellenius works through center. Enters the offensive zone. 6-on-5 advantage for the Amherst. Delay call against the crunch. Back to Ryan Johnson. Steps, feeds. Hellenius. He shoots. Save made. There's a rebound. It's Wahlberg. He works in behind the net. Back to the right point. Metza. All of this on a delay call against the crunch. Right wing Wahlberg. At the top of the circle. Back to Metza. Holding. Feeds. Right wing Wahlberg. 6 minutes gone in the opening period. And the crunch under siege at the moment. They have a 2-1 lead though. Puck to the line. Lecision keeps. Passes left wing for Hellenius. Cuts to his right, feeds to his right, back to the point. Metza shoots, save made. There's a rebound, tagged up by Miller. Finally a stoppage of play. And the crunch, who've had the dominant start, had a 2-0 lead quickly. Now it's 2-1 to the Amherst. Go back to the power play, and they are buzzing. 2-1 crunch. We'll take a break on ESPN Radio. Well, we're 6 minutes and 11 seconds into our game tonight, and 3 goals already, 2 for the crunch, 1 for the Amherst. And Rochester heading back to the power play. Both teams 1 for 1 on the man advantage. Rochester just scored. Then they put on some good pressure on a delayed penalty right after they had scored the power play goal. And a man advantage once again. Fiddler Schultz will take the faceoff. So Peltier on the power play is 27 from Chafee and Geeky. Then Gauthier from Groshev and Pekka. And after that, Nadeau on the power play is 9th from Jones and Fiddler Schultz. And Fiddler Schultz gets thrown out of the left faceoff circle. He refuses to leave. Meanwhile, Peltier and Kuntar getting involved. Officials come together and make sure that they stay apart. Hellenius at the left circle. It is a vandal at the circle. The Amherst get control. Jones at the left point. Kuntar putting on some legal interference. A shot stopped the rebound. Dribbles back across to the left wing side for Hellenius. Back to the left point, Jones. Left wing for Hellenius. Down to the left goal line. Out in front. A save made by Fanti. Boy, the Amherst are just maneuvering the puck cleanly. Now a steal and a takeaway. Short-handed 2-on-1 Peltier. Right circle across. Looking for Chafee on a backhand. It got under his stick. Now Chafee rolls it back to center ice. Tommy Miller is there first. He angles it back over the crunch line for Ethan Sampson. 1:25 left in this Rochester power play. It's Groshev who's in the box for the crunch. So 2 defensemen in the box right now for Syracuse. Tenorti for his fight and Groshev for his minor penalty. Groshev in for a slash. 1:15 to go on the power play for the Amherst. They're still in their own territory. Zach Jones, Rochester's leading scorer, who's got the most points by an Amherst defenseman in 15 years. Having a terrific season, especially against the crunch. It's been against everyone, but he has dominated the season series. He corrals the puck back in his own zone again. 55 seconds to go. Jones right to left. Through center, he gains the line. Right up the middle, he cuts. Backhands it high. And that one went into the netting. Up out of play. 12:39 to go here in the first period. And it remains 2-1 crunch. Down to the final 50 seconds of the Rochester power play. Face-off will be at the right circle. Rochester changes its power play personnel. Matthew Pekka and Jacob Peltier now on the penalty kill. Peltier having a long chat with one of the referees. Decision on the face-off. It's won back by the Amherst. Wahlberg to the point for Bayruther. Walks the line and flips it down low. Comes off the backboards, Carson Meyer. Meyer under pressure. Rolls it ahead of the blue line, finding Zach Metza. Left wing for Bayruther. Down the left wall again for Carson Meyer. Try to get it to the goal line. Boy, the Amherst have been working that goal line of the power play. Crunch get a steal up the near wall for Peltier. Here he comes again out to the neutral zone. Short-handed, he just chips it off the glass and down. 25 to go on the Rochester power play. We're shy of 8 minutes gone in the first period. Shots from 9-3 Amherst, with the Crunch have a 2-1 lead. Fired in by Metza, around on the near side for Miller. Picked up by Sampson, he shoots it ahead. It goes off a Rochester stick and down the ice. And that should do it for the power play. Final 7 seconds of the penalty to Max Groshev. Bayruther back behind his net. Up to center ice for Metza. Groshev hops out of the box. Rochester gains the line. Left wing for Metza. Angles it in toward the corner. Far side for Sturtz. Sturtz gets leaned on. Miller trying to support. Crunch right now 3 defensemen on the ice, with Groshev joining the play out of the penalty box. Groshev gets hit along the near wall. Flipped it into the corner. Stolen by Caleb Lawrence. 2-1 Crunch. 8.5 minutes gone in the opening period. Right point, Metza. Back to the center point. Hard check along the wall by Geeky on Metza. Puck to the right corner. Now Jagger Joshua. Crunch looking for possession. They have not had the puck much here the last 5 minutes. Groshev back behind the net. Ethan Sampson takes control. Throws it off the left glass. Out to center ice. It is picked off by Metza, though, at center. Gets bumped by Sturtz. Rolled back in over the Rochester line. 9 minutes gone in the opening period. 2-1 Crunch. Cooper Flint, Max Grondin, and Lucas Mercury now on the ice. Left wing for Lecision. Angles it ahead. He got his own pass and shoots it. Right pad save made by Fanti. Hard check by Matteo Petronero. Then went crashing into a body. He's getting leaned on right now by Lecision as they continue to wrestle. The puck comes out of the zone. Now both guys separate as Ratzloff throws it ahead, and it is offside. It was blown down by Lucas Mercury just out of the zone, or else Ratzloff would have been in trouble. Although Mercury had dropped his stick in that sequence as well. 10:37 remaining in the first. Fighting penalties now up for Gertson and Tenorti. And you hear the reception for those two guys. 2-1 Crunch. Hey fans, the AHL hits harder on FloHockey. Every game, every goal, every hit, all season long. AHL TV on FloHockey gives you access to every AHL game. Watch your team, follow top prospects, and stay on top of all of the action on the ice. Subscribe now to stream it all live on AHL TV on FloHockey. And maybe you're watching tonight on FloHockey on the live social game of the week in the American Hockey League. And you've been kind of treated to a electric start tonight. 2-1 the score. Not even halfway through the first period. Neutral zone faceoff. Amherst get control. Ethan Gauthier, though, puts on pressure on Komarov. Puck inside the Rochester line, now clear to center. Left red line for Groshev. Dumps it ahead. Carson Meyer slowed it up. It worked to the left corner. Back up toward Meyer. He pumps it out. Matthew Pekka there. Rips it cross ice. Tipped ahead by Gauthier. Then he swings and misses. Follows up and backhands it behind the Rochester goal. Pekka scooting it after it. He gets dragged down to the left corner. Trying to poke it up the left wall. And now this puck is cleared down the ice. A little bit of a cross check there. Now punch on Nick Abruzzese. It was Meyer. Now, again, all heck breaking loose. Nadeau in after someone for the Crunch. Meyer reacted to something, then gave a left jab with a gloved hand to Nick Abruzzese. And we'll see if they're evening things off or if it's just going to be one penalty here. No one heading to the penalty box. I thought I saw a referee point at somebody, but maybe not. 10:06 to go in the first. It remains 2-1 Crunch. So no penalty out of that. It looked like in the moment, referee pointed pretty aggressively at someone as if, hey, you are getting a penalty. But no infraction detected, so a left circle faceoff. Officials letting things go there, which might allow things to further escalate as the tension continues to rise halfway through the first period. It's been a very snarly start to this game. Down the right wing for Ethan Sampson. In behind the goal, Jacob Peltier. Now left corner, Geeky. Gets control. Gave it away, though, to Nadeau at the circle, and it's cleared by Nadeau, who's got the Rochester strike in this game. A power play deflection. Back to center for Chafee. Angles it ahead. Quickly turned back to the neutral zone by Komarov. Chafee has it back, surveys, and loops it in the air. Golfed out of the air by Jones. Apparently not a high stick as Fiedler Schultz counters and shoots. That one goes off a stick up out of play. 9:28 to go in the first. It's 2-1. Syracuse will take a break on ESPN Radio. First period brought to you by the Wildcat Pizza Pub. Check them out on Milton Ave, the Home Depot Plaza in Camillus. And 10 and a half minutes into our first, the Crunch with a 2-1 lead. They would have faced off in the defensive zone. Ian Mitchell gets tossed to the ice by Trevor Kuntar, then gets a steal. Puck is swatted out of the zone by Lucas Mercury. Sent across to the right wing for Noah Lowen. Back toward Kuntar, gets drilled by Petronero. Kuntar is certainly making his mark in this game. He then slashes a stick and no call. Boy, he just took a full swing on Petronero's stick. It's Kuntar's stick that broke, but it broke because he slashed down on the stick of Petronero. They're letting him get away with everything here in the first period. Kuntar got a new stick and keeps the puck in. Far side for Lucas Mercury. Across to the near side for Ian Mitchell. Left to right breakout. Up to center ice for Dylan Duke. He fires it in from the blue line around to the left wing side for Lucas Mercury against Costa Helenius. Duke gets leaned on. Mercury in behind the net. He gets shouldered down by Zach Jones. Left wing Grosjev is on it. At the hash, he shoots toward the net. Ratzlaw made a save. Grosjev follows up. He controls at the blue line, twists and dumps it back in. And behind for Dylan Duke. He tried to muscle it out in front. The net nearly came up and off. Now Mercury is tough attempt to save. The rebound is loose, top of the crease, and tapped out. Up to center ice, Tommy Miller is there for the Crunch. It's given away, though. Here comes Wahlberg. Onside, left wing pass to Helenius. Pass cut off by Miller at the near boards. Up for Grosjev. Whips it to center for Chafee. Through the neutral zone, he feeds right wing. Geeky shoots. Save made by Ratzlaw. And he holds on. Chafee going to the net. Gets in a headlock as he was cutting toward the goal. 8:06 to go in the first. And it's 2-1 Syracuse. More conversations between these two teams. In what is the opening game of a home-and-home series, they will rematch tomorrow in Rochester, 3:05 p.m. puck drop at Blue Cross Arena. Now, one of the great rivalries in the American Hockey League. Obviously, there's always changing personnel, but these two teams have met in the Calder Cup playoffs for 3 straight years. They are playing 4 times, including last Friday in the final 4 weeks of the year. That obviously adds to some of the angst as well, especially with Rochester fighting for a playoff spot in the division. Ethan Sampson off a face-off win for the Crunch. Walks to the middle blue line. Now out wide left wing. Down low, tipped into the corner by Jared Sinordi. Max Grondin now works it down low beneath the goal line again. Crunch get a steal. Here is Cooper Flint in left corner. On his backhand, he swivels back against Metza. Hammers it around behind the net. For Gabriel Sturtz, he gets bumped by Graham Slaggert. Flinton has it. Flinton feeds. Left point Sinordi. He shoots. Right pad save made by Ratzlaw. Rebound down low is taken by the Amherst. Johnson got taken down to the crease. And Rochester gets to the line, but Sinordi kept it in. Grondin will flip it back toward the right corner, and the Crunch can make a change. Good shift for the Crunch. 7:25 to go here in the first, and they have a 2-1 lead. Caleb Lawrence throws it into the far corner. They never retrieved that broken stick in the far corner. It was Trevor Kuntar who had a hefty slash, didn't get called for a penalty. Here comes Gauthier, left wing pass for Pekka, just couldn't get it cleanly at the left circle. He has it now, back of the blue line, Pekka to the middle. Right wing for Ian Mitchell, he has all sorts of room, gets in front, a stop made, the rebound of the crease. Now clear to the near side, back to the point, Petronero. He's got room straight on, he shoots wide left, looking for a tip from Nick Abrazizi. Back up the boards, Gertson gets it out. Pekka and Mitchell going back to play it. It'll be Pekka who takes the puck back along the Crunch blue line. Turns up ice, weaves to his left, chips it across, and it comes right back to him, dumps it into the right wing corner. Crunch will make a change. 6:35 to play the first period. It is a 2-1 lead for the Crunch. Skating tonight as the Canal Mules. Tommy Miller up the near wall. Gets tangled up in a couple of bodies. Up for Dylan Duke now. He shuffles it across. This one gets deflected, but rolls to center ice. Lowen, look out, goes head over heels into the Crunch bench on a hit from Tristan Allard. Wow. He hops back out of the bench now and rejoins the play as Groshev sends it around the left wall. A turnover, though. Jones at the left point. Works it back down low behind the net. Around to the far boards. Meyer now gives a shove on Allard. Back to the right point. Noah Lowen. He steps and shoots. Tipped. Knocked away the rebound of the left wing circle. Amherst have the puck. Back to the line again. Lowen feeds right wing Jones. Knocked away by Mercury. Poked back into the right corner. Heavy pressure now by the Amherst. Worked back in front off the skate of Groshev as Carson Meyer was the intended target and he was open. Crunch get the puck. Up ahead for Mercury. Stepping ahead left to right. Then he swings back around. Look out, there's pressure on him. He has to dump it behind the net. Finds Tommy Miller. Lecision and Mercury now jousting. Miller has the puck and the Crunch finally get it to center ice. Up ahead for Peltier. Carries in 1-on-3. Peltier swinging back in the right circle. Gets twisted around, but now he's got some space. Feeds for Chafee right corner. Trying to pass it in front. His stick snapped in half. He's got to go to the bench to get a new twig as Noah Lowen starts up ice. 5:15 to play here in the first period. It's a 2-1 Syracuse lead. A turnover at center. Here is Peltier, right wing for Geekie. They get over the line. Geekie absorbs a check. Leaned on again by Kuntar. The puck is moved to center ice. 3-on-2 through the neutral zone. Jagger Joshua drops it off. Johnson feeds to the right. A shot. Score. It squirts through. And the Amherst have tied the game. Fiddler Schultz with 4:56 to go in the first. And it's 2-2. A quick counter up the ice by Rochester. And Fiddler Schultz, who's having a terrific season, slides it through his 21st goal of the year, and it's a 2-2 tie. Now the Crunch have seen their early 2-0 lead evaporate here in the first period. Fiddler Schultz just whipping it through the 5-hole of Ryan Fanti, and we're all square at 2. And 2 straight goals for Rochester after the Crunch had opened up the 2-0 lead, 2:25 into the game. Got to give the Amherst credit. It's been a really good response after the opening 2.5 minutes of the game. Kind of started with that fight. Then the Crunch took the penalty after that. And that allowed Rochester to get all sorts of momentum from their power play, which converted. And now they've tied the game 2-2. Back at center ice, Rochester with the puck again. Back along the blue line for Zach Metza. 4:45 to go in the first. And the Amherst and the Crunch are tied at 2. Puck over the Crunch line. It's backhanded ahead. Pekka gloves it down. He swats at it. It is knocked away. Helenius angles it over the line. Constantini in after it, right wing corner. He's got some space. He centers for Wahlberg. Trying to cut back to the left corner and has the puck. Wahlberg up to the left point. Bayruther. Across to the right for Metza. Passes right circle. Back to Metza. He shoots. Kicks Saint. There's a rebound. Petronero, though, tying up with Wahlberg. Crunch get the puck. Petronero out of the right wing, the far side corner, passes to the near wing for Matthew Pekka. Angles it off for Ethan Gauthier. Lead pass. Abrazizi. He's in. He shoots. And he missed the net. Oh, what a chance. Great pass and a slick play to knock it out of the air by Abrazizi and get kind of a partial break. Couldn't quite hit the net. Puck in the D zone for the Amherst. Crunch who had 2 goals on their first 3 shots. Now it's a 2-2 game. Under 4 minutes to play in the period. Tommy Miller jumps to center ice for Cooper Flinton. Turns, skating ahead, cuts to his left, and finally fires it in off the left glass. Ratzlaff will slow it up behind the net. Far side Komarov. Look out, a turnover. Groshev in, he shoots. It was blocked. Oh, Gertson with a great block. That was a terrible turnover by the Amherst, and Groshev looked at it was potentially an open net with Ratzlaff trying to recover. And Gertson blocked it up out of play. 3:36 to go in the first. Crunch of the Amherst tied at 2 on ESPN Radio. 3:36 to go in the first. And the Crunch and the Amherst are tied 2-2. Lucas Favali with you here in Syracuse tonight. Pleasure as always. Middle game of the Crunch's second and final 3-3 weekend of the year. They had one last weekend. They swept all three games of the 3-3 last weekend. First time they did that since 2022. They lost the opening leg of this one, though, last night on home ice against Hershey. Offensive zone face-off for the Crunch. It is one back out of the zone. Grosjev retrieves it, finds Tommy Miller. DDD back to Grosjev. Feeds it up to center ice or Cooper Flinton. Cross ice, up the middle. They gain the line. Here's Sturtz. Lays it left wing. Down low, it's tipped wide right. Right point Miller. Miller holds and throws it in toward the right corner for Grondin. Ties up with Bayruther, and Bayruther gets up at another penalty against the Crunch. It'll be a third straight Rochester power play. Now a couple of cross checks by Lawrence on the back of Grondin. And officials will hop in. So tripping call against Grondin. And now two Amherst tying up with Cooper Flinton. And now Sturtz gets shoved away by a couple of other Rochester players. Now 3:09 to go in the first. Rochester with a 2-2 tie now after going down 2-0 and heading to its third straight power play. Well, they've let the Amherst get away with a little bit on their side. They got the Crunch out an offensive zone penalty. I mean, we talked about that hefty slash by Kuntar that did not get called. And now an offensive zone trip against Max Grondin and a power play for Rochester. The power play is really what turned the tide of this game. It was still so early in the game, not even 5 minutes in when they scored, but they dominated the man advantage, and they scored, and they built the momentum from there. So we'll see if the Crunch can get through this penalty kill. Rochester 1 for 2 on the power play. Crunch's second penalty kill effort was better than the first, as Mitchell Chafee will start this penalty kill with Jacob Peltier. Riley Fiddler-Schultz, who tied the game, wins the faceoff to Helenius. Feeds across, Jones shoots and scores. Right off the faceoff, it's 3-2 Rochester. 3 seconds into the power play, Jones has crushed the Crunch, and he delivers another goal against Syracuse. So 3:06 to go in the first, it's 3-2 Amherst. But what a turn of events in this first period. A clean faceoff win, and Jones wide open at the right circle. I mean, he is just dominant in this season series. It's his 10th goal of the year. Helenius, wide open, and a great shot from Jones. Joe Bouchard is not pleased at the moment with the officiating, at least with one of the referees right now. He's trying to have a conversation there that does not materialize into anything. Michael Leone then wants a word with the referee, maybe making sure that the politicking doesn't lead to a penalty against his club, as the faceoff is won by the Crunch. They dump it in. Ethan Gauthier after left corner. So Rochester has scored the last 3 goals of this period. They have a 3-2 lead after the Crunch had a 2-0 lead 2 minutes and 25 seconds into the game. This puck is gloved to hand, and it's chipped out. Sampson back ahead. Here comes Matthew Pekka. 3-on-2 over the line. Pekka left circle. He pulls and shoots. Missed the net wide. Raymond up the near side. Ethan Sampson kept alive. Pekka. Left wing Tenorti at the circle. He shoots. That one didn't get on net. Nadeau gave it away to Pekka. Slides it right wing for Abrazizi. Gets free in the right corner. Abrazizi surveys, works back up high, sets up Sampson. He shoots. Caught by Ratzlaff. The 2:23 to go in the first period. That'll get a stoppage of play. Ratzlaff has had to settle into this game after giving up 2 quick ones, but his team in front of him has roared to life, and he's made a couple of good saves of his own. Shots are 14-11. It's been a very open period. And obviously the power plays have helped. Rochester 2 for 3 on the power plays so far tonight. Meanwhile, Riley Fiddler-Schultz heading into the Rochester dressing room. He's got 3 points already in the first period, a goal and 2 assists. And now he's heading into the dressing room, so we'll keep an eye on that. Right circle face-off, offensive zone for the Crunch. Connor Geekie gets control and behind for Mitchell Chafee. Spinning around behind the net. Chafee toward Peltier. That got blocked. Peltier does find the puck. Left point Peccianero shoots a stick save made by Ratzlaff. The rebound of the near wall for Helenius. Dumps it behind the net for Ryan Johnson. Johnson took the penalty in the opening minute of the game, which led to an early power play goal by the Crunch. Now an icing battle won by Anton Wahlberg to negate the icing. The Crunch, though, break it out of the zone quickly. Here's Mitchell Chafee, 2-on-2. Right wing with Peltier. Peltier cuts back and tries to get it in front. It got blocked. Comes to Ian Mitchell. He shoots. Save made, and Ratzloff able to hold on with 1:48 to go in the first period. Another tangle up. Time Chafee and Helenius coming together. 1:48 to go in the first. Rochester 3, Syracuse 2. The Amherst have won back-to-back games, and they started this little 2-game winning streak with a rally against Hartford last Sunday. Came from a 3-1 deficit in that game. Roared to life and ran away with that. And here tonight, they've very quickly turned a 2-0 deficit into a 3-2 lead. All of that here in the first period. Offense's own faceoff for the Crunch. It's tapped back to the net point for Groshev. Holds and shoots. Again caught by Ratzloff. 1:42 to go in this opening period, and another offense's own faceoff for the Crunch. See if either side makes a change. No. So Allard, Duke, and Mercury stay out there. Groshev and Tommy Miller, the two defensemen. Decision on the faceoff against Allard. They're still waiting to drop the puck. Decision with the dissertation of the linesperson. Finally, the puck is dropped. The Crunch get control. Puck played in behind the net. Komarov gets checked. Gets upended, now passes up the wall. It gets to the line, but not out. Groshev keeps it in and shoots, blocked. And the rebound is tipped ahead for Kuntar. Kuntar left wing for Jagger Joshua. Joshua along the left wall for Kuntar. He slips free, tangles up with Lucas Mercury. Up the near wall, it comes to Joshua again. Allard tries to get the puck. Decision and Kuntar in the area for Rochester. At the left half wall with 1:10 left of the first period, the Amherst with a 3-2 lead. Kuntar goes down. The puck comes to the middle of the ice. The Crunch dump it out. Up in the air. Allard scampers on top of it. Allard leans on a man. Gets held up. Penalty upcoming. He was driving hard to the goal, and Gavin Bayreuther had to get a hold of him, and a power play coming for the Crunch. A good effort there late in the shift by Tristan Allard to put on the afterburners and draw a late power play in the period for the Crunch. 53.4 seconds to go. It's 3-2 Rochester here in the first period. And Tristan Allard earns the Crunch a power play chance with an opportunity to tie the game. The left circle face-off in the offensive zone for the Crunch. And the 5-forward power play unit starts it off. Pekka, Chafee, Duke, Geeky, Peltier. Pekka on the face-off. He won 2 face-offs in the first power play of the game for the Crunch, which ended up in the back of the net. Crunch get control. It's knocked away to the near blue line, and Wahlberg wins the puck battle and knocks it away from Connor Geeky out of the zone. Peltier has to regroup, swings it back for Matthew Pekka. Pekka shuffles it through the neutral zone. Up for Jacob Peltier to the offensive end. Rolls it ahead. There's a loose stick in the left circle to the offensive zone for the Crunch. Power play for the Crunch. Peltier's pass blocked. Checks it down into the left wing corner for Chafee. 25 to go in the period. It comes back to Peltier. The Crunch can finally set it up. Pekka has Geeky to his right. Passes to his left. Back to Pekka. He shoots, and a save made by Ratzloff. Now Duke gets wrestled by Ryan Johnson. Anton Wahlberg coming together as well. Well, Rochester has brought the fight. The Crunch are obviously more than happy to engage in that as well. But Rochester's needed to bring that edge to their game after the early 2-0 deficit. Let's help them get into this contest. 17.8 seconds to go. The Amherst leading 3-2. Lucas Mercury out for this right circle faceoff. He takes the place of Dylan Duke on this unit. He's in for this faceoff in the right circle. 17.8 seconds to go. And now he gets thrown out. Mitchell Chafee will come in. And Rochester wins it. Nets and loops behind the net. And can start up ice and dumps it all the way down over the net, off the glass. 10 seconds to go. The Crunch have time for one last hurried rush. Connor Geeky, 5 seconds to go. He gains the line. A little give and go. Backhand pass in front, blocked by Netza. And that'll do it for the period. More sticks and gloves and bumps in the crease. And the officials trying to get the teams away from each other and into the dressing room. Well, the Crunch had a 2-0 lead, 2 minutes and 25 seconds into the contest. And then Rochester scores the final 3 goals of the period, 2 power play goals, and 1 at even strength off the rush. And so the Amerks will take a 3-2 lead into the first intermission. Jacob Peltier has been having a long, both Jacob Peltier and Joel Bouchard have had long chats with the referees in this first period. Peltier was chatting heading into the dressing room. He's now hitting the tunnel, and so he has finished that conversation. Rochester heading off as well. We're through 20 minutes. What was a pretty chaotic first period. 5 combined goals. Rochester leads the Crunch 3-2 after 1. Second period comes up in a bit. First intermission begins now with Eddie McCarthy.
Thank you, Lucas. Yes, very chaotic in that first period. As Lucas mentioned, Crunch got off to a great start. 2 minutes, 25 seconds into the game, they led 2-0. Goal from Peltier on the power play. Goal from Gauthier, who got promoted tonight to the second line, as Lucas touched on, with Matthew Pekka, Nick Abrazizi. So that paid off. And then things went downhill from there as Rochester responded. And when you put a team that has been as good as the Amerks have been this year on the power play, unfortunately, that is some of what can happen. And the Crunch got a pretty hefty dose of that in that first period. Amerks 2 for 3 on the man advantage. All right, still to come in our first period intermission report. We'll have highlights of that chaotic first period. But first, we'll hear Lucas sit down with one of the new additions to the Crunch forward Matthew Pekka. That's coming up right after this. 3-2 Amerks after 1 on ESPN Radio.
To tune into Mike Bristol's FW Webb Inside High School Sports Show, highlighting all of Section 3 athletics. Presented by Nye Automotive. Brought to you by Top Notch Roofing, University Sports Shop, and Manny's. U.S. Army, Wilkins RV, Wonder Windows. Each and every Saturday morning on ESPN Radio.
Bring it on. Near or far, day or night, Burdick BMW has a huge selection of inventory on site with more to come. The BMW X5 SUV is a natural leader in so many ways. Looks, safety, technology, power, and much more. See for yourself and lease the 2026 BMW X5 xDrive 40i at Burdick BMW for $899 per month for 39 months with $64.99 due at signing. Cash down includes $46.75 capitalized cost reduction, $899 first month's payment, $925 acquisition fee, and 0 security deposit. Not all customers qualify for security deposit waiver. Tax, title, license, registration, and dealer fees or additional fees due at signing. MSRP of $75,650. 10,000 miles per year included. Excess mileage charged at 25 cents each at end. Lessee responsible for excess wear and tear. For qualified lessees through BMW Financial Services with a minimum credit score of 700. Offer valid through March 31st, 2026. Burdick BMW, your performance and luxury headquarters. Reserve yours today in-store at Drivers Village in Cicero or online at burdickbmw.com.
Thousands have trusted William Mattar with their serious injury claim. At William Mattar, we only handle motor vehicle accidents, which means we know how to take on big insurance and maximize your recovery. Rideshare, truck, motorcycle, car, only call William Mattar, New York State's largest motor vehicle accident firm. Hurt in a car? Call William Mattar, 315-444-4444. Main Street, Williamsville, South State Street, Syracuse. Call now.
Hey, Central New York, it's Dan from the Wildcat in Camillus. Got something to celebrate? A graduation, an engagement, game day, or just a reason to party? Then let's go. We're bringing the flavor with killer catering, subs, party platters, fresh pizza, award-winning wings, and mouth-watering pasta that will have everyone coming back for seconds. Hosting at home, we can make it easy. You bring the people, we'll bring the party. Call us at 315-487-2222 or stop by 3680 Milton Ave in Camillus today. The Wildcat Sports Pub, where every party is a winner. See you there.
This is Syracuse Crunch Hockey on ESPN Radio Syracuse.
Welcome back to our first intermission. Lucas Favali with Crunch forward Matthew Pekka. Middle game of this 3-3 weekend for the Crunch. Matthew, last night, 4-3 loss against the Hershey Bears. What did you see last night?
I think we were a little disconnected and a little lax early on in the game. I don't think they got anything we didn't give them. we had a good video session today. A lot of lessons learned, so we're ready to go tonight.
Yeah, it was almost a full week off between games, which is kind of unusual this time of the year. Do you feel like maybe a little out of sync to start the game last night?
Yes, but we had a good week of practice before our 3-3 last week, and we played well. I think it was just our mentality. Maybe we were a little comfortable and happy with the way we were playing. That happens when after you've gotten a few wins, you get a little loose. So, like I said, good lesson learned, and we'll be ready to go tonight.
Yeah, you go down 3-0, and then you guys really dug it and made it a game till the very end. You get 2 goals quickly in the second period, get back within 1 again in the third. What did you like about the way you guys did respond after going down 3-0?
Yeah, there was even with the way we were playing, there was never any doubt. Like we were comfortable in the position that we were, even though we weren't playing well. We knew we were going to work for our chances, get a power play goal, a big play by Peltz, 4-on-4. So, at that moment we were confident, we were comfortable in the situation that we were, and unfortunately we give up that 4-2 goal, which was a little bit of a bad break, but we battled till the end. We just came on too late in the game.
You've been here a couple weeks now. What's, I guess, as we pull back a little bit, what your sense of this group is, where it is right now with, 4 weeks to go in the year?
The standard is incredibly high. They expect a lot from each other as a team and individuals, constantly talking about plays, adjustments. I think that's what I've liked the most about being here, is just the constant talk about what's going on the ice, the constant adjustments made about who we're playing, whether it's power play, penalty kill. Just there's always, everyone's always talking, everybody's always trying to get on the same page, and they're a very prepared team, which is great going out there.
How important is that, where there is that communication constantly? Like, you've been on good teams in your career, you've got to a couple of finals. Like, I don't know if there's a kind of a trait that you've seen over those teams in the past that maybe you see here, or just that communication in general, how important it is.
I think just communicating what the standard is. I think that's the most important thing. I think a lot of teams, sometimes you say, we're hardworking, or we have a high standard, and it's talked about, but maybe it's not always executed. I think these guys really hold each other accountable, player to player, coach to player, player to coach. We're always talking, and everything's always getting fixed. So they really go out there and do what they say.
You jumped into this group, it's obviously trade deadline time a couple weeks ago. Like, how hard is it to make a move like that? You obviously were settled in Springfield, you got a family, of course. Like, how hard is it in season to kind of make a move and join a new team?
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, I find it harder away from the rink. Once I set foot on the ice, I felt like I settled in. The hockey aspect of it is the easiest part. I was familiar with some of the guys before, and especially with the way they play. I've always been a fan of the way this organization plays. So it's always just the away from the rink stuff that's a little bit difficult to settle into, especially like you said with the family moving. But like I said, once I got on the ice, it felt normal.
And I know, like, that first week you said it kind of felt right to be back here too. Like, just what is this feeling to be back in this organization now?
Feels good. Obviously, the familiarity of it is what made it easier. A lot of familiar faces, the rink, locker room, like you name it. I didn't feel like I was constantly having to ask, where do I go for this? What's the deal with this? Where do I park? All that kind of stuff. So it felt seamless, and it felt right.
All right, as we shift to tonight, the Crunch and the Rochester Americans, middle game of this 3-3 weekend, first game of a home and home. What do you have to do to get a win here tonight? Good start. We can't be on our heels like we were last night. Roch is a really skilled team, and they move the puck really well if you give them space. So I think getting to our game and our forecheck and just our grittiness early should be the difference. Matthew Pekka, thanks for the time. Good luck tonight. Thank you. Back with more in a moment on ESPN Radio.
Syracuse Bicycle. Ride bikes, have fun, feel good. We carry products we love, provide hospitality to our customers, and change the world by getting more people on bikes. Syracuse Bicycle is the locally owned, largest bicycle
Who are you talking to? I'm just practicing for when I have to tell the dogs about the twins. Because And what about the...
Extra cargo space for strollers and dog beds?
I guess you're right.
Can we go to the hospital now? The contractions are getting closer.
The 3-row Lexus TX, because everyone should feel like the center of the universe. See Burdick Lexus in Cicero.
Ah, springtime. The birds are singing, the snow is gone, and potholes the size of kiddie pools are back. Spring driving means speed up roads, surprise rainstorms, and that one guy who forgot how turn signals work all winter. Protect yourself with Macaulay.
Welcome back to our first period intermission report. A lot of goals in that first period as the Amerks lead the Crunch/Canal Mules tonight 3-2. Back inside Upstate Medical University Arena, I'm Eddie McCarthy. Crunch got off to a great start. They scored twice early, but then the Amerks responded for the final 3 goals of the period. And the Crunch immediately tilted the ice in their favor right away. Just 23 seconds in, Lucas Mercury drew a cross-checking penalty. And then inside the opening minute of the game, Jacob Peltier stays hot with a power play goal. One-timer from straight away. Chafee and Geeky pick up the assists on Peltier's 27th goal of the year and his 72nd point, which leads the American Hockey League. And then from there, the Crunch kept the puck on that side of the ice. The puck barely saw the Crunch defensive zone in the first couple of minutes of the period. And 2:25 in, Ethan Gauthier made it 2-0. Second goal of the game for the Crunch, the 11th of the year for Gauthier. But then Rochester started to turn the tide in its favor. 5 seconds after that, we had a fight between Jared Tenorti and Mason Gertzen, and the Amerks clearly drew some momentum off of that because shortly thereafter they got a power play, and Olivia Nadeau cut the deficit in half. Cut the second goal. I'm just going to jump straight to the third Rochester goal. That made it 2-1. Then the Amerks continued to get some really good chances. 10 minutes later, Riley Fiddler-Schultz tied the game, and then the Amerks ended up on a power play once again, and noted Crunch killer Zach Jones gave the Amerks a 3-2 lead. Zach Jones has a goal and assist in that first period, and his goal the difference right now. Rochester 3, Syracuse 2 after 1. The Emmerichs 2 for 3 on the power play. That was a huge difference maker in the opening 20 minutes. All right, we're going to take a break, and when we return, we'll have second period action with the voice of the Crunch, Lucas Favali. The Crunch/Canal Mules here on Canal Mules Night trail Rochester 3-2 after 1. You're listening to Crunch Hockey on ESPN Radio.
Second period brought to you by Kitty Drugs. Does your health plan include OTC benefits? Just check your benefits card for the S3, Nations Benefits, U-Card, or OTC Network logo. Kitty now takes them all. These funds can pay for prescriptions and OTC medications like vitamins, cough and cold, allergy, and more. Save money. Use your wellness benefits card at Kitty. Kitty Drugs, employee-owned, locally committed since 1903, and the official drugstore of the Crunch. So Rochester, with 3 consecutive goals, leads 3-2 as the second period is set to start. Crunch have 1 minute and 7 seconds of carryover power play time to begin the period. Hammers from left to right, Crunch from right to left wearing their Canal Mules jerseys with blue pants, blue helmets, and cream numbers. Crunch with a center ice face-off. Second period underway. Power play for the Crunch. 1 for 2 officially. This is their second of the day. They get the puck into the right wing corner. Connor Geekie around to the left corner. Comes up the left wall. Up to the left point for Peltier. Has space. Feeds right wing blue line Chafee. Center point Peltier. Back to Chafee. And it bobbled. Gets it back. Geekie. Center point Peltier. Left wing blue line. Back across. Geekie one-timer. Missed the net. And it goes up out of play. 26 seconds into the second period. And the faceoff will stay in the offensive zone for the Crunch. 3-2 Rochester, down to 41 seconds of power play time for the Crunch. Bayruther in the box for his late penalty against Tristan Allard, who drew a holding call on a good rush down the left wing. Late in the shifts. Right circle face-off. Riley Fiddler-Schultz back out there. Remember, we saw him go to the dressing room with a couple of minutes to go in the first period. He had 3 points, a goal and 2 assists in that first period. The Crunch give the puck away and it's cleared. Down it goes. 30 seconds to go in the power play for the Crunch. Ryan Fanti leaves the puck behind the goal. Shots were 17-14 in favor of the Crunch. Brought to you by Nave Law Firm. A high event first period. Pekka from right to left. 15 to go on the power play. It's knifed across. Left corner now for Geekie. Bounced on him. He gets it back. This pass got blocked. Double teamed. Knocks it free. Up the left wall. Pekka gets tied up. Back toward Geekie. Johnson with the steal. In behind Chafee. Backhands it right side. Here's Peltier. Final seconds of the power play. Puck to the corner. Give it away. Knocked loose by Duke though. Crunch starting a partial change. Getting a regular line out there now as the puck bounces back to center ice. Ian Mitchell has it. Left wing Petronero. Rochester going for a change. Crunch getting onside. Petronero shoots. Caught by Ratzloff. No rebound. 1:20 gone in our second period. Crunch now 1 for 2 on the power play. They trail 3-2. Hey, Crunch fans, the Crunch have clinched their 8th straight playoff berth in the Calder Cup playoffs. Season ticket holders can lock in their seats by contacting the Crunch office or checking out account manager at any time. Plus, playoff flex packages are also available. 10 vouchers good for any playoff game at any round, starting at $270 right now. Visit SyracuseCrunch.com/playoff-flex to purchase. Crunch keep the puck into the right point. Sent down low by Ian Mitchell. Around to the left wing, half wall there is Gabriel Sturz. Zooms it back around to the right. Ethan Gauthier spinning around, finds Sturz. His pass blocked away by Helenius. Back to the point. Here's Mitchell. Walks in, shoots. Ratzloff with another save, and he swallows it up. Ratzloff gave up 2 early goals on 3 shots. He has stopped everything since. Not a ton of high degree of difficulty chances against him since the early goals. But every puck he has seen, he has stopped. After the 2-minute and 25-second mark of the first period. Face-off coming up to his left. 3-2 Rochester. 1:40 gone in the second. Crunch had that 2-0 lead. Rochester scored the next 3. Mercury on the face-off against Lecision at the right circle. And Mercury gets waved out again. Mercury standing over the linesperson to ask what he did. Allard will take his place now. And this is a 50-50. Comes out in front. Now grabbed by the Amherst and thrown off the glass and cleared to center. Puck is played ahead, but it was a hand pass against the Crunch. Ethan Sampson gloved it down, then got bodied away from the puck, so he couldn't quite get his stick on it. And then the Crunch tagged it. So hand pass against Syracuse. You can only make a hand pass legally in your defensive zone. So face-off will be right at center ice. No change of personnel. Mercury out there again. Now Allard getting it early far side. The puck is dropped, and Rochester wins it. Nadeau with a little bit of a whack on Allard right off that face-off. Puck dumped in deep by the Amherst. Far side Ethan Sampson. Up the boards for Allard. Spins to the red line. Bangs it in off the right wing boards. Puck deflects and ends up in the seats right to the left of the Crunch tunnel. And a fan in the second row ends up with the souvenir. 2 minutes into the second period. And Rochester with a 3-2 lead. Amherst need every point possible down the stretch. I mean, they're in the catbird seat for that final playoff spot of the division. Although only 2 playoff spots have been officially locked up in the division. Laval in first. Laval, by the way, trailing in the third period at Wilkes-Barre Scranton. At last check, it was 3-1 Penguins. And the Crunch, as we mentioned, with the other playoff spot locked up as Lucas Merker gets thrown out of another faceoff. This time it was the linesman at the blue line. So again, Allard comes in against Lecision. And another 50-50. Rochester controls. Around behind the net. Noah Lowen clears to center. It's deflected in over the line. Ricochets to Sampson. He angles it for Mercury. Up over the red line. Pokes it in. Didn't get it too far. The Amherst have it back. And he passed to center ice. Nadeau defended by Tenorti. Swatted free by Mercury. Allard turns to the right. On his backhand, he throws it in. Ratzloff behind the net. Scoops it around to the near side. Dylan Duke with a steal. Pumps it back behind the goal. On the right wing for Sampson. Toward the right corner. Finds Duke behind the net. It skipped on him. He gets it back. Left point for Tenorti. Tenorti looks and shoots it intentionally wide left. It's grabbed behind the goal by Jones, he gets clipped by Ethan Gauthier. The puck is cleared. Maybe a 2-on-1 as it bounces in over the line for Carson Meyer. Up in the air, popping free. Sampson grabs it for the Crunch. Drops it back behind the Crunch goal. 3 minutes gone here in the second period. And the Crunch trailing 3-2. Jared Tenori, far side for Sampson. Long shift for those two. This puck is cleared. Bounced off a body. Gauthier steps on it. Gains the line. Right circle. He shoots. Ratzloff with a save. And again, no rebound. Ratzloff now glaring down at the piece. Maybe something in the ice right down near the crease. And Trevor Kuntar scoops up whatever it is and hands it off to the linesperson. Face-off coming up in the right wing circle. Crunch down by a goal early stages of the second period. Matthew Pekka against Riley Fiddler-Schultz. And Fiddler-Schultz wins the draw. It's shoveled up to the line. Kept alive by Tommy Miller. Then it gets a shoulder right in the chest by Trevor Kuntar. Max Grosjev retrieves the puck back behind the Crunch net. Backhands it up the wall for Gauthier. Picked off, though, by Caleb Lawrence. Gets down behind the goal. Centers. It got blocked by Miller. Gauthier swivels behind the net and begins to break it out. Sidesteps a check and swings it to the left for Grosjev. Winds and drives it in. This is delayed offside against the Crunch. Puck comes right back to center ice anyway. Grosjev there, and now he scoots his way into the offensive zone. Zips it around the right wing side. Ryan Johnson is on it first. He gets taken down by Max Grondin. In the first period, this led to Rochester's go-ahead goal. Number 84 in blue for the Crunch. Right circle, Sturtz. One back to the line for Ian Mitchell. Walks to the middle and shoots. That one ricochets high. Rebound off the backboards. Muscled toward the net by Grondin. Didn't quite get on goal. The puck is lifted out. Mateo Petronero settling down a bouncing puck. Gets it back to the blue line. Here comes Grondin right back in. He cuts his way to the right circle. He has it. He spins it in front. Blocked away by Ratzloff along the ice. Amherst take the puck. Good attempt there for Max Grondin. He had a couple of options near the goal. The puck is lifted out. Mateo Petronero up across for Sturtz. Sturtz whiffs on a dump in. Has to retrieve it back at center ice. Tied up by Gertzen. Grondin will fling it back in the D zone for Ian Mitchell. 4.5 minutes into the second, 3-2 Rochester. Mitchell in his own zone, starting up ice. Rochester changing right in front of him. He throws it in over the line. And the Crunch will appeal for a change of its own. Puck down ice. Potential icing here is whistled. 4:40 into the second period. Face-off in the offensive zone for the Crunch. Hey fans, don't miss out on a chance to win a game-worn Jacob Peltier Syracuse Stars specialty jersey. Crunch wore those throwbacks last Saturday in their win against the Cleveland Monsters. Visit SyracuseCrunch.com/jersey raffle to enter. The raffle closes at noon on Tuesday. Those were some spectacular jerseys, those Stars jerseys. Crunch with a face-off. Connor Geekie up for Ethan Sampson. Now Tenori shoots it. It ends up in the left wing corner. Blocked away by Wahlberg. Left half wall Geekie. Down low for Jacob Peltier. Extended his scoring streak to 15 straight games with his goal in the opening minute of the game back in the first period. Peltier left point for Sampson. Across to Tenori. He's pressured up high. Shovels it toward the net. Gets blocked up out of play. 5 minutes into the second period. And a little bit of a post-whistle collision between Helenius and Peltier. Things have kind of settled down to start the second period. In terms of the after the whistle nonsense. But that could change in a heartbeat. Offensive zone face-off for the Crunch. They've had the run of play here in the first 5 minutes of the second. Most of it has been in the offensive zone, but they have not been able to get the game tied again. Right circle face-off for Matthew Pekka. Lecision won it, but it's whistled down. And Lecision this time gets waved out. We're going to adjust the clock here. And do get it back to 14:59. 3-2 Rochester. Pekka now will be opposed by Olivier Nadeau. And this is a 50-50. And again, Rochester wins the faceoff. Bayruther accelerates out to center ice. Cross ice pass. Just out of the reach of Komarov. He does pick it up off the boards and shoots it in. Out of the far corner. Battle for possession. Worked up the boards to the left point for Bayruther. Across to the right, Komarov. He shoots off a stick of Gauthier. Maybe it was Samson. Samson's stick got broken. I thought it was Gauthier, but both were in the area. Puck back over the Rochester line. Now lead pass to Lecision. Trying to get in on a break. He does get to the net, and a penalty upcoming. Penalty against the Crunch, and a penalty shot awarded. So Jake Lecision will have a penalty shot with 14:25 to go in the second period. Rochester up 3-2, and a penalty shot for Lecision. Well, they say he was denied a scoring chance on the check. Let's take a look here. I don't know. Boy, that's a terrible call. Wow. This has not been a banner night so far for the officials, and that might be the worst call of the bunch. Well, we'll see if Ryan Fanti can pick up the Crunch now on this penalty shot attempt for Jake Lecision. 5:35 to go in the second. I don't even think that was a penalty, and yet it's a penalty shot for Lecision, and here he comes. He grabs the puck, goes out wide left wing. Slows up, top of the circles, now gains speed. He's in, backhand chance. Fanti with a save. Ryan Fanti with a huge stop. 5:35 into the second. Lecision denied on a penalty shot. It remains 3-2. So justice served on a very soft penalty shot call. And Fanti has to make a huge save on Lecision. Able to catch it with his glove and keep it out. So it remains 3-2. Crunch survive. And a face-off to the right of Ryan Fanti. One back by Lucas Mercury. We'll see the Crunch. I mean, again, as we just said, they had the run of play in this period. And we'll see if they get some more momentum after the penalty shot saved by Ryan Fanti. It remains a one-goal Rochester lead here in the second. Tommy Miller gets leaned on by Trevor Kuntar. Puck pops to the middle of the ice. And this has been the line that has really caused the Crunch fits. Puck to center for Tristan Allard. Throws it across. It comes off a skate. Comes back to him now for Tommy Miller. Miller goes to the right, bangs it ahead. It's tipped out of the zone. Jones will throw right back in. It's whistled down, though. I don't know. I'm not sure what the whistle was for. Didn't see any indication. Anyway, stoppage of play. 3-2 Rochester. Big penalty shot saved by Ryan Fanti. We'll take a break on ESPN Radio. Fans, stop at Tully's Good Times Restaurants and check out the great selection, including pastas, seafood, salads, burgers, deli sandwiches, and homemade desserts. There's something for everyone. And don't forget about those tenders. Tully's Good Times, some of the best chicken tenders on earth. Amherst with a center ice face-off. They shoot the puck into the zone to our right. Back along the near boards for Max Grondin. He scoops it up to the line. Lowen kept it alive with that glove. It was close to the line. Grondin slips down. Gertson takes the puck. No one wants control of this now. Rochester does get it. Centering pass for Caleb Lawrence. Comes off a stick to the near side. Amherst keep it in. Jones. He shoots. Tipped just wide by Slaggert. Jones, who's got a goal and an assist tonight. He's got 6 of his 10 goals on the season against Syracuse. 11 points in total in the season series. Puck in the left corner. Tied up now. Flinton and Sturtz down low. Puck finally lifted up in the air. Kicked free by Lawrence. Left boards again for Sturtz. Popped for Flinton. Crunch under pressure here in their own zone. It's worked behind the net. Here's Petronero. Back for Ian Mitchell. Mitchell looks up ice. Swings to the left for Petronero. A lead feed. Off an hammered stick. It was Jones at his own blue line. It comes into Rochester territory. Back for Zach Jones. A stretch pass to center. Costa Helenius throws it toward the middle of the ice. It's picked off by Ethan Sampson. He has to slip it and slide away from pressure. Up the near boards, backhands it toward the line. Peltier chops at it. Metza kept it alive. Now it's cleared by Peltier down the ice. Ryan Johnson throws it off the far boards. Hard check by Connor Geekie. Geekie, by the way, is swapped out his cage for the fishbowl on his helmet now as the puck comes out toward the Crunch crease. So that changed during the intermission. As the puck comes in the left wing corner for Anton Wahlberg. In the offensive zone for the Amerks are out of the right point for Zach Metza. Metza holds and slips down the right boards. Chafee defends. Metza hands it off to Wahlberg. Maneuvers away from the referee. Puck to the line. It bounced around. The Crunch finally get a stick on it. And Tenorti clears. Sampson got clipped behind the play. He's slow to get up. Here comes Helenius on a counter. Helenius shoots. Great save made by Fanti. And Sampson is right in the face of the referee. 8 minutes gone in the second period. I didn't see how Sampson got taken down, but he got upended behind the play. And asking why there wasn't a penalty on that sequence. Well, Rochester has pushed back after that penalty shot attempt that did not go for them. In the last couple of minutes, they have started to lean back on the Crunch. Decision to the right wing circle. Decision had the penalty shot attempt for the Amerks about 2.5 minutes ago. Pekka wins the faceoff of the Crunch. Groshev, slick move, and then he loops it up and out. Foot race coming. Komarov against Gauthier. They call it icing. And Gauthier's furious. 11:52 to go in the second period. It just seems to be building for the Crunch. The frustration at the officials, and at some point they're going to have to try to let some of that frustration go. But at the moment, it feels like every 50-50 call has gone Rochester's way. That was a close one. But tie goes to the defending team in that scenario. Off the face-off. Crunch muscle it free. Here's a 2-on-1. Nick Abrazizi with Ethan Gauthier. Abrazizi drop past Groshev. Shot blocked by Komarov. Look out, the Amerks can turn it up ice. They've got numbers through center. Nadeau left wing. Over the line. 3-on-2. The Crunch scrambling back. And Matthew Pekka, one of those two back initially, made a great play defensively. Now Tommy Miller throws to center ice for Gauthier. Cuts back of the red line. Goes cross ice. Pekka swats it in, but didn't get much on it. Did roll it down beneath the goal line, though. Bayruth around to the near side. Up for Carson Meyer. Short feed for Nadeau. 11:15 to go in the second period. No scoring in the period. It remains 3-2 Amerks. Lucas Mercury throws it behind the net for Ian Mitchell. Mitchell with a stretch pass. Did Dylan Duke get a piece of it? No, icing against the Crunch. Just about 9 minutes gone in our second period. Another defensive zone faceoff coming up for the Crunch. Rochester will send out Fiddler, Schultz, Joshua, and Kuntar at the left circle with Jones and Lauren. Mercury on the faceoff of the Crunch wins it back to Ian Mitchell in the right corner. Up the wall, but Kuntar bodied it down, gets a steal, rolls it toward the front, punched away by Fanti. Back to Ian Mitchell again. Is under pressure, slides it in behind for Matteo Petronero. He throws it up to the blue line for Dylan Duke. Cuts to the middle, races to center. Far side pass for Tristan Allard. He tipped it ahead. Duke in after it first. Trying to swing it out in front. Noah Lowen blocked it. Allard gets a stick on it. Now comes to the near circle. Amerks get the puck. Fiddler Schultz spins away from Allard. Under pressure. Double team, but a nice play by Fiddler Schultz to punch it out. Nicely done. Petronero back across to Mitchell. 10.5 to go in the second period. 3-2 Rochester. Shots are 22-18 in favor of the Crunch. Puck in the near side circle. Now Fiddler Schultz reverses back behind to the far side. Up toward the blue line. Sampson and Gertzen tangle up. Gets to the right corner for Dylan Duke. Duke out of that corner. Up the right boards. Looking for some options here. At the right blue line now. He turns and shoots it down into the left wing corner. Tenorti has the puck as Allard in a wrestling match with Zach Jones. Puck to the right boards. Duke jams at it. Stays in the rink. Hard shove on Mercury by Fiddler Schultz. The puck is finally thrown to center and down. Ethan Sampson going to get hustled here by Mason Gertzen, and a pass stolen away. Here goes Graham Slaggert down low. A tip by Gertzen goes off the glass. Rebound chopped down low. Here's Ethan Sampson. Near side for Tenorti. Tenorti will fire it to center ice. In stride for Max Grondin, then again it's knocked off his stick, and it's moved right back to center ice for Slaggert. 9:35 to go in the second period. It's 3-2 Rochester. Puck is turned over by the Crunch in their own zone. Knifed away by Tenorti. Here's Sampson. Chipped it back into the near corner. Tenori reaching for it. He gets shouldered. Puck comes free. Right circle. Wahlberg poking at it with Sturtz. Tenori gets the puck. Look at it. He's got pressure behind. He passes up the boards. Punch back to the middle of the ice, and Sampson zips it to center ice. Redirected into the offensive zone by Sturtz. Ratzlaff will shuffle it around to the far boards. It comes right back to center ice. And Tommy Miller will take it back in the defensive zone for the Crunch. 9:05 to go. Second period. 3-2 Rochester. Puck to center. Connor Geekie gets checked by Bainruther. Available puck. One back by the Amherst. Zach Metza with the lead pass. Costantini angles it for Wahlberg, but Crochet picks it off. Crunch countering. Chafee over the line, looking for support. Goes rink wide, off a skate. Swept back to the right point, Grosjev. Down the right boards, Peltier. Hands it off to Geekie, right circle. He drives down low. Geekie out in front. Couldn't quite stuff it home. A chance, though, got blocked off the stick of Tommy Miller. It rolled off the stick of Geekie right to Miller. He couldn't quite get it on net. Now the Amherst have iced it. Whistle stops play with 8.5 to go in the second period. Offensive zone faceoff for the Crunch. Rochester unable to change. Crunch will get some fresh bodies out onto the ice. So Pekka, Abrazizi, and Gauthier come out. Now Ryan Johnson heading into the Rochester dressing room. Keep an eye on that. Remember back in the first, as we mentioned earlier, Riley Fiddler-Schultz went off, did come back to start the second period. Now Ryan Johnson heads off early. Crunch with the offensive zone faceoff. Petronero fires it toward the front. Picked off by Metza. Turns and clears. All the way down it goes, and another icing whistle with 8:21 to go in our second period. And Joel Bouchard will take the opportunity to throw out his top line again after a quick 30-second breather. Chafee, Geekie, and Peltier return to the ice. Amherst still unable to change after back-to-back icings. Geekie on the left circle faceoff against Telenius. And they get a faceoff win. Petronero at the left point. He shoots. That one went right into the body of Geekie. Back to Petronero again. He throws it down low, tipped away by Metza. Comes to Peltier. Peltier sets up Mitchell. A shot got blocked by Wahlberg. Look out, a lead pass is picked off by Mitchell as Wahlberg was trying to cut ahead for potential breakaway pass. Crunch have it back in their own zone. Petronero lead feed. Up for Peltier, had it knocked away. It's loose near the red line, and Wahlberg able to find it and ladle it in. Now Rochester going for a change. Crunch have the puck with 7:45 to go in the second period. They trail 3-2. Peltier pokes it in. Jones scales it off the far boards and out. Near the Rochester bench, Nadeau. It comes free for Meyer. Pass blocked. It bounces around, rolls through the slot into the near corner. Mitchell gets leaned on by Lecision. 7.5 to go in the period. 3-2 Rochester. Geekie still on the ice defensively for the Crunch. That whole line is still out there. Komarov left point for Jones. Jones shoots. Blocked in front. Rebound off a skate toward the left corner. Ripped around to the right. Komarov is there. Another long shot. That one got in on net. A save made by Fanti with a pad. Maybe a rebound off the pad. And the puck is iced by the Crunch. Whistle stops play with 7:06 left in the second period. And now Geekie, Peltier, and Chafee have to try to collect their breath. Remember, they had a pretty quick breather before they came back out for this shift. That whole sequence started after a Rochester icing in the offensive zone for the Crunch. Had a couple of looks toward the net. And then late in that sequence, this line gets stuck out for a D-zone faceoff after an icing. Geekie goes in early to intentionally get warned and draw a couple of extra seconds of breath. Fiddler-Schultz on the faceoff against Geekie. Fiddler-Schultz won it. Komarov shoots. It got deflected on net. Save made by Fanti. Rolled around to the near side for Peltier, and he shuffles it down the ice. Not enough for an icing. The Crunch will scramble for as much of a change as they can get. Not a full change. A lead pass comes back toward Joshua down the ice. He got a piece of it, so no icing. Ryan Fanti goes high around the near boards for Peltier. Turns and gulps it out. Down it comes. This could be an icing, and it is. With 6:42 to go in the second period. Rochester maintaining a 3-2 lead. D-zone faceoff again for the Crunch. Zach Lecision out here now for the faceoff. And another warning against the Crunch. Now Matthew Pekka lines up for the faceoff. Scampering on top of it first was Jacob Peltier. He's been out here the longest for the Crunch of the sequence. Got it through the neutral zone over the red line, but not down the ice, although Peltier now cuts across to make the change. Rochester back ahead into the offensive zone. Hustling into the corner is Groshev, finding Ian Mitchell up the far boards for Abrazizi. Couldn't get it past Zach Metza along the wall. The Amerks have made a couple of good plays in this game along the boards as the Crunch trying to break pucks out of the zone. That's led to some of their difficulties back in the first period. Groshev near board. 6:10 to go in this second period. Rochester leading 3-2. It kicked free. Up to the right point, Noah Lowen. Left wing pass. Metza. Now working back to the middle of the ice. Metza shoots. Good save made by Fanti with a glove. 5:58 to go in the second period. Stoppage of play. Rochester leading 3-2. We'll take a break on ESPN Radio. Second period brought to you by Kidney Drugs. Want to save more in 2026? Swap your brand name products for Kidney Drugs' trusted store brands. The top care, simply done in life every day. Keep more money in your pocket. Same quality, better value every day. Kidney Drugs, employee owned, locally committed since 1903, and the official drugstore of the Crunch. Rochester has a right circle offensive zone face-off. One back by Helenius. Metza steps to the right circle. He's got room down low. All the way behind the net now. Defended by Groshev. Loops around to the left wing. Back to the left point. Lowen. Back to Metza on a give and go. Metza cuts in front. A shot goes wide. Rebound near side for Lucas Mercury. Mercury fires it behind the net for Groshev. Right wing for Miller. Look out. He's able to pass it up ahead. He's under pressure. This pass, though, picked off in the neutral zone by Helenius. Another turnover by the Crunch. Helenius right wing for Wahlberg. Gains the line, angles it off the near wall. Miller picks it off for the Crunch. Chip back ahead, and Dylan Duke gets it out. Through center, grabbed by Lucas Mercury, enters the zone, cuts to his right. Right circle shot, tipped off an Amherst stick up high. Left wing for Groshev. Spirals it back down low behind the net. Here's Mercury left corner. Left point Groshev. Walks to the right, pumps the brakes, and shoots. Tipped off the side of the goal by Duke. Rebound nudged behind. Allard takes control right corner. Spins back against Metza. Now behind for Duke. Drills it around the right point. There's Miller. Across, Groshev. Groshev shoots, blocked by Wahlberg. He's blocked a number of them here this game, has Anton Wahlberg. Near his side, he gets leaned down by Allard. Left point, Groshev keeps it alive. Costantini bumps it off the near glass and out. Jared Tenorti back to play it for the Crunch. 4:45 to go here in the second period. Still no goals in the period. It remains 3-2 Rochester. Crunch had a 2-0 lead, 2.5 minutes into the game. The Amerks have scored the last three, all of that coming in the first. Tenorti's pass gets denied by a stick. It comes to center ice. Komarov scoops it back in. Offside is waved off. Tenorti backhands it behind the Crunch net. It's given away. Left wing for Bayruther. Back in behind the goal. Tenorti back on it again for the Crunch. Up the boards for Peltier. Scoop back in behind the Crunch goal. There's Groshev on it. Chips it for Tenorti. Tenorti finally makes a pass. It's just nudged out by Peltier. Up for Komarov. Scoop back in. The Crunch back to retrieve again. The top line stuck in their own zone right now. Tenorti up for Ginky. He spins around. Passes far side Groshev. Across to Tenorti. Feeds left wing for Nick Abrazizi. Now for Peltier. Scoots his way in. Had it bobbled off his stick. Kuntar knocked it further along the wall. Abrazizi grabs it. Tries to get past Bayruther. Hard check in the corner by Ginky. Puck around to the left wing for Abrazizi. Spins it around behind the net. Ginky in after it. Comes to the near side. It's deflected. Abrazizi went crashing into the corner boards. Puck is gloved out of the zone by Fiddler Schultz. 3.5 to go in the second. Rochester up by 1. Sampson left wing for Grondin. Up over the red line. Around the roulette wheel on the right wing side for Bayruther to get a body on it, kick it back behind the Rochester goal. Jagger Joshua with a quick breakout for the Amherst. Spindler Schultz left to right. Elevates it in toward the far corner. Getting a paddle on it was Fanti. The Crunch get possession now. Sturtz shoots it off the far glass and down. Rondon gets a stick on it as well as the Amherst get it back to center ice. Petronero turns and rips it back into the offensive zone. Amherst by 1, 3 minutes to play the second. Carson Meyer at his own blue line. Shots are 22-21 Crunch as Zach Jones passes up into the offensive zone for Lecision. Near corner Mitchell. Knocked free. Here's Tommy Miller. Lecision gets a stick on that. Back into the corner for Ian Mitchell. Short feed for Gauthier. Throws it off the right glass and out. Jammed across. Near side for Lowen. Right back ahead Lecision. He gets walled off by Tommy Miller. Puck to the near corner. Around behind to the left wing for Carson Meyer. Now it's Ian Mitchell. Right back up the left wing. Lecision lets it go to the left point for Jones. Scrambles to the middle. Hands it off Noah Lowen. Lowen shoots. Missed it wide. Rebound off the back of the net. Nadeau keeps play continuing. Left wing Lowen. Back to the center point. Helenius in. He shoots. Fought off by Fanti off his catching glove. Crunch in some trouble to their own zone. Chafee gets a stick on the puck. Comes free to the near side for Matthew Pekka. And Pekka shovels it ahead. Knocked out of the air and then out of the zone. Helenius had kept it in, but Chafee bodied it out. Near wall, the Crunch trying to get it up over the red line. They do. Chafee steps into the offensive zone. Down the left boards, Ethan Gauthier. Crunch down by 1. Under 2 minutes to play in the second period. Gauthier has control in the right corner. Pass to the right point. Sampson walks and shoots. Fought off by Ratzloff. Left wing for Tenorti. On a follow-up for Chafee now in the left wing corner. He overskates. Helenius defending. Passes off a leg. Matthew Pekka steals it for the Crunch. Up to the left point for Gauthier. Right back down low, run right off of Pekka. And another turnover by the Crunch. This leads to an odd man for the Amherst. Late in the shift, though, the Amherst is fired in. Far boards, Sampson in behind for Tenorti. 1:20 to go in the period. Jared Tenorti glancing up ice. Works it to center ice for Matthew Pekka. Pekka from right to left. Gains the line. Swings it to the right. Here's Tristan Allard. Leaned down by Anton Wahlberg. Heavy work there by Wahlberg. The puck comes right back, though, to Tristan Allard, right corner. Then rolled off his blade, right back to Wahlberg again. Lands a check. Allard took him down. Puck out to center ice. Minutes to go in the period. Crunch down by 1. Dumped in deep by the Amherst. Ryan Fanti plays it behind the Crunch goal. Fanti stick handles, shovels it to the corner for Petronero. Up for Duke at center. Duke trying to lead Tristan Allard, but it got knocked away by Metza. Hard check, and they call a penalty on Mercury. Mercury rammed into Metza, and a call against him. Power play coming for Rochester with 43.7 seconds to go. They get an interference on Mercury. Take a break. Rochester with a late power play of the period. It's 3-2 Rochester on ESPN Radio. Amherst getting a power play in the final minute of the second period. They have a 3-2 lead. Lucas Mercury for an interference as he rammed Zach Metza. It's a big power play for the Amherst. They're 2 for 3 in the game. It's an important penalty kill for the Crunch. 43.7 seconds to go. The last power play for the Amherst, they scored 3 seconds in to take the lead. A half-hearted drop of the puck, so we'll do it again. Fiddler Schultz against Pekka. It's a 50-50. The Amherst prying free. Left point Jones. Didn't get a ton on the pass when it comes to Kuntar. His pass blocked by Peltier. Slides it up and out. Jones at the red line. Half a minute to go in the period. 3-2 Rochester. They're on a power play. Consta Helenius sidesteps Peltier. Angles it in over the line, left wing for Fiddler Schultz. Whips it around to the right wing for Trevor Kuntar. 20 seconds to go in the period. Punch back to the right point, Jones. He shoots for a tip. It got knocked down. Rebound chance. Good stick by Tenorti. Amherst keep in down. Lob kick save. What a right pad stop by Fanti on Fiddler Schultz. And the puck is dumped down ice. 5 seconds to go in the period. That's a huge save by Fanti. That'll do it for the period. No goals in the period. A couple of huge saves by Ryan Fanti, though, to keep an eye on. They had that penalty shot save earlier in the period, which kind of flipped the momentum back in Rochester's favor. And that's a huge save with the final 10 seconds of the period by Ryan Fanti on a broken play that came back across to the right. And he denies Fiddler Schultz with a right pad. So no scoring in the period. Shots are 23-22 Crunch in the game. Those are brought to you by Nave Law Firm. And the Crunch face a deficit entering the third for the second consecutive night. They pushed in the third period yesterday, but they gave up the first goal of that third period yesterday to fall back behind by 2. See if they can get one and get this game tied in the third period coming up in just a bit. Time now for our second intermission report. Once again, here's Eddie McCarthy.
All right, thank you, Lucas. A much different period than the first, which seemed to have a goal about, every time you picked up your head. But in that second period, the pace settled down. We saw a little bit more neutral zone play and certainly not as wide open. But the Crunch are in a very similar position to the spot they were in last night in that they go into the final period down 3-2. However, last night, Syracuse had all the momentum. They had a couple of late goals in the second to go from 3-0 to 3-2 against Hershey. And yet in this game, it was the Crunch who got off to that great start in the first period, scored 2 goals inside the first 2.5 minutes. But then Rochester responded with 3 before the first period ended. And Syracuse does not really have that same momentum as they had last night. Lucas mentioned the shots on goal, 8-6 in Rochester's favor in the second. Syracuse has the overall advantage, 23-22, but a big period for Ryan Fanti. Stopped all 8 shots he faced, including the one at the end and the penalty shot. Those will be 2 big saves that we can earmark if Syracuse can come back to win this game. All right, well, we've mentioned before that it's Canal Mules night. We do it once a year, so when we come back, Brooke Kilgore did a piece on what Canal Mules night means to the Syracuse Crunch Hockey Club and to the city itself. That's next here on ESPN Radio. Second period intermission report here from Upstate Medical University Arena in downtown Syracuse. The Amerks have a 3-2 lead on the Syracuse Crunch, but the Crunch tonight known by another name for one night this season. Here tonight, the Crunch take on the identity of the Erie Canal Mules, or more accurately, the Syracuse Canal Mules. And for more on Canal Mules night and what it means not just to the Syracuse Crunch Hockey Club, but the city of Syracuse, here's Brooke Kilgore.
Brandon Halverson ready to go in Syracuse. Canal Mules and Amerks on a Saturday night in downtown.
It's not abnormal for a team to rebrand for a game, and it's not abnormal for the alternate identity to bring about a laugh or a play on a namesake. But for the Syracuse Crunch, tonight's changeup is about more than a mascot. It's about history. It's a story more than 100 years in the making, rooted in the workers along the Erie Canal in the early 1920s, brought back to life tonight as the Syracuse Canal Mules.
That's such a great concept by Megan, such a great idea, and it was fun. It's been great to live this experience, and the fans and everybody joining into it and just kind of being very enthusiastic about it. So it's been just a lot of fun from everybody that jumped on the experience.
For Crunch general manager and head coach Joel Bouchard, an identity like this can bring new energy for everyone involved, especially in the midst of a long AHL season.
It's a long season for the player, for the coaches, for the fans sometimes, and then just to bring something so unique like that where I feel everybody's jumping on board, so it's been fun.
So where did this annual celebration stem from? The Syracuse Canal Mules competed during the Prohibition era as the first known beer league hockey team. Their presence in competition, even after they dissolved when the Syracuse portion of the Erie Canal was filled in, eventually paved the way for teams like the Syracuse Stars. And now their memory is honored by the Crunch. In terms of the honorary night, it sparked at the desk of Crunch Vice President of Communications Megan Cahill a couple seasons ago.
The idea kind of stemmed from a friend who knows a lot about Syracuse history and thought about a name and said, hey, this would be a pretty cool hockey name, and kind of pulled in people all across Syracuse who had some ideas, and the storyline all came together pretty well. We're really happy with how our Canal Mules fit into actual history of Syracuse.
And it didn't take long for the rest of the Crunch organization to get on board.
We pitched it to our owner, Howard Dolgan. He was on board, so he gave us the green light to kind of run with it. And I think everyone in the organization has kind of gotten behind it.
In its third year, the Canal Mules represent more than just the game, but a chance for the Syracuse hockey community to reflect on its history. However, Cahill says that it might be time to say goodbye to this era.
We're thinking it might be kind of the end of the Canal Mules. We're wrapping up that 3-part series, so we gave it a nice closure and led into how the Canal Mules maybe helped bring professional hockey to Syracuse with the Syracuse Stars.
While the history is the forefront, the hockey aspect is still very real. And it's not just any team coming to Upstate Medical University Arena. The Rochester Americans still have a score to settle. But Bouchard and the Crunch have one message going into tonight's game.
You better bring it, because everybody's fighting for their job. Everybody's fighting for playoff spot. Everybody's fighting for another contract, so or tuning up for the playoffs. So at the end of the day, it's Rochester or somebody else. We know they're going to come after us, and it's our job to be ready for it.
From Canal history to a new identity in a big division matchup, tonight offers the Syracuse community more than another night at the rink. The Syracuse Canal Mules bring past to present and serve as a reminder of those who came before us.
Well, thank you very much to Brooke Kilgore for putting that together on the Syracuse Canal Mules. And Joel Bouchard, who closed the piece, is absolutely right. You had to certainly expect this kind of game from Rochester tonight, and it's the kind of game that Syracuse got. Rochester, a desperate team, fighting to keep their playoff spot, and they are certainly playing like it as the Syracuse Crunch, who tonight are the Syracuse Canal Mules, find themselves down 3-2 after 2 periods of play. When we come back, we'll break down our second period highlights, talk a little bit about Ryan Fanti, take a trip around the AHL, and Brooke Kilgore, who is pulling double duty tonight, will share her conversation in between periods with Crunch defenseman Tommy Miller. That and more next here on ESPN Radio.
You still have time, but you've got to hurry. McGuire's Move Metal and March sales event is almost over, and you don't want to miss the savings. Get to your nearest McGuire dealership now before it ends for your once-in-a-lifetime deal on the new or used vehicle you deserve. McGuire is delivering prices, payments, and trade-in values that the competition just can't touch. Don't miss out. Plus, McGuire and Beginnings Credit Union are setting an all-time loan volume record. Loans are being approved at a record pace, and it's no wonder. We have the best interest rates of the year and no payments for 90 days. We'll get you approved, even if you've had credit challenges. That's the power of Move Metal financing. Hurry in now. These are the final days of Move Metal in March at McGuire. 18 new car brands, 18 locations in Ithaca,
Well, thank you, Brooke. Brooke Kilgore talking with Crunch defenseman Tommy Miller in between periods. Hopefully Tommy has not checked his phone yet, because when he does, he is unfortunately going to realize that his alma mater, Michigan State, lost in overtime to the Wisconsin Badgers in the national quarterfinals today. So it will be the Badgers and not the Spartans who will be heading to this year's Frozen Four. But here in Syracuse, a 3-2 lead for the Rochester Americans after a scoreless second period. All of our scoring done in the opening 20 minutes. Crunch opened on a power play as we started the second, but Rochester killed it off about 1:07 on the power play for Syracuse. That was relatively uneventful. The only really good chance of the period came about 5.5 minutes in. Rochester got a breakaway with Jake Lecision. He was held or slashed rather by the Crunch on his way in, and he was awarded a penalty shot, and Ryan Fanti stepped up big time for Syracuse. Fanti stretching out with everything he had to make the glove save as Lecision went forehand, backhand, and he made all 8 saves on the 8 shots he faced in that second period. And so we head to the third, the Amerks 3, the Crunch 2. The Crunch trying to avoid losing 2 straight as this front side of a home-and-home with Rochester will conclude in the third period, and we'll have that for you coming up next on ESPN Radio.
Getting set for our third period tonight, brought to you by Woodford Brothers. Do you have settling floors, wall cracks, or bunk basement walls? These problems don't get better with time. A small foundation issue can turn into a big nightmare that can affect your home's safety and decreases resale value. Call Woodford Brothers today and preserve and protect your home's value. So the Crunch shorthanded. Carryover penalty against Lucas Mercury for another minute and 17 seconds for his interference against Zach Metza. Power play for the Amerks. It is their 4th of the game. They're 2 for 3. We'll have a clean sheet of ice to work. And a face-off at center ice to begin it. It's 3-2 Rochester. Third period about to begin. All of our scoring back in the first. Crunch had 2 early goals. 2:25 into the game, they had a 2-0 lead, and Rochester scored the final 3 goals of the period, 2 on the power play. Riley Fiedler-Schultz with 3 points. He wins the center ice face-off. The third period begins. And the Amerks with a 3-2 lead. Referee spills. Fans enjoy that. The puck is near the crease, thrown ahead, and tipped away and out of the zone. Could be a shorthanded break. Here comes Matthew Pekka. Pekka to the net. He gets knocked away. The puck off the side of the goal. That might be a penalty shot. It is. How often do you see both teams with a penalty shot attempt in the same game? Rochester had one of his second, stopped by Ryan Fanti, and now Matthew Pekka gets the Crunch their 4th penalty shot attempt of the season. He got pressured and whacked by Trevor Kuntar. 19 seconds into the third, clean sheet of ice for Matthew Pekka. Penalty shot with a Crunch down by 1. He grabs the puck, goes out wide, right wing on Ratzlaff. Now he slows up in the circles. Pekka in tight, he goes backhand shot. Ratzlaff made the save. So both goaltenders have stopped penalty shot attempts here tonight. And it remains 3-2 Rochester, 19 seconds into the third period. Wow. Well, Pekka slowed up in the circles, went forehand, backhand, and Ratzlaff has really played well. Stretched out, made the save. So 19 seconds into the third, shorthanded offensive zone faceoff with a crunch. Now it's Chafee and Peltier with Mitchell and Petronero. Amherst with the faceoff. They maintain a 3-2 lead opening minute of the third. Down to the final 50 seconds of their power play. Fiddler Schultz right to left, drops it back off. Consta Helenius through center ice, left wing for Trevor Kuntar out of his reach. Helenius gives a little whack on Ian Mitchell. Amherst get a steal, then they turn it back over on a centering feed. Mitchell Chafee sprints to center ice, gets past one. He's got Peltier cutting. Chafee shoots, and a save made by Ratzlaff again. And Peltier cutting down the left wing, but I think that was the right idea, shooting the puck there for Mitchell Chafee. And Zach Ratzlaff coming up large for Rochester. Gave up 2 goals on his first 3 shots against. 2:25 into the game. One-time blast by Jacob Peltier, the other deflection in front by Ethan Gauthier. Since then, he has stopped everything he's seen. Face-off right circle, offensive zone for the crunch. Still shorthanded. Amherst will win the face-off. 30 seconds to go on this power play. Anton Wahlberg rumbles to center. And from the red line, he fires it in. Around to the right boards. It comes off a stick. And it's tied up along the right wall now. Zach Metza with Cooper Flint into the area, along with Max Groshev. It's squirted free. Tenorti tries to clear, comes off the stick and out of the zone as Bayreuther knocked it down, but it couldn't keep it alive. He hammers it back in around the shelf, right wall. There's Cooper Flint, a nice turn, passes to the middle, and Matthew Pekka dumps it out. Penalty ends. Lucas Mercury's out of the box. Impressive penalty kill to start the third period for the Crunch, carrying over from the second period. The deficit, though, remains 1 for the Crunch after the penalty shot attempt stopped by Rochester. Puck to the far side. Breakout pass. Eluded a couple of sticks and rolls back to the red line. Fired back in by Zach Metza. Max Groshev tried to backhand it down low. Bounced on him. And now it's tied up in the right wing corner by Mason Gertzen. All sorts of bodies now joining the fray. Who's going to get control? Finally, it's Dylan Duke, who had it very briefly. That gets once again in a tangle up. Gertzen and Caleb Lawrence. Gertzen driving in there on Jared Tenorti. Those two had a fight 2.5 minutes into the game. 5 seconds after the Crunch took the 2-0 lead, they had a fight. Puck comes back to the blue line. Gertzen dumps it in. Jared Tenorti back to grab it for the Crunch. 2:15 gone in the third. The Crunch trailing by a goal. Dylan Duke, left wing pass to Groshev. Throws it up ahead. It's deflected in by Tristan Allard. Ratzlaff behind the net. Leaves it there for Gavin Bayreuther. He gets leaned on by Mercury. Puck is taken back to the near side. Joshua. He has it knocked away by Ian Mitchell, but it popped right back to Joshua. Good break for him, and it's chipped out by Trevor Kuntar. Matteo Petronero now forced back in his own zone. He throws it to center ice. It ricochets off a couple of sticks. Offensive blue line. Jacob Peltier had it very briefly. Got kind of hooked from behind. Now the Amherst turn it over. Abrazizi to Geeky. Back to the bright point. Peltier. Left wing pass. Petronero. Goes cross ice. Geeky swings and misses in a one-time chance from the right circle. Puck to the near wall. It's lifted up and out. Over the head of Matteo Petronero. Turns to play it. Kuntar got a stick on it and steals. Petronero gets another piece of that puck, and it's won back by the Crunch. With 3 minutes gone in the third, the Crunch trailing by 1. Ripped cross ice, misfired by Syracuse, turned back ahead by the Amherst. In over the Syracuse line, Petronero in the near corner. Gets bumped, Rochester with his steal. Anton Wahlberg into the left wing corner. Mitchell gets it back for the Crunch, slides it free to the circle. Geeky for Petronero, up for Chafee and out. Chafee scoops it on the backhand, bounced over the Rochester line, thrown back ahead, intercepted by Tommy Miller, fresh off the bench. Crunch get onside, Miller hammers it around to the left wing side, nets a bump by Chafee, stolen by Pekka, drives down low, knocked away, and rebounded behind the goal, Costantini. Near side pass to Wahlberg, off his stick, kept alive by the Crunch. Played down low by Miller, Noah Lowen takes control. Back to the blue line, Costantini. Swings away from Gauthier. Now Lowen nearly had it knocked free by Mitchell Chafee. Rochester gets to center. 4 minutes gone in the third. It's 3-2 Amherst. A penalty shot aside of the game. Neither team has scored on their penalty shot attempt tonight, and it's still a 1-goal Rochester lead. Max Groshev back in his own zone, pounded by Carson Meyer. Finds Gabriel Sturz. Near side pass out of the reach of Tommy Miller. Punched back ahead by Nadeau. There is Max Grondin for the Crunch. D-zone Sturz. Left wing Groshev. pumps to the red line and fires it in. Ratzloff around behind the net. Near side, Sturtz kicks it into the corner for Grondin. Try to give it back to Sturtz. It got intercepted by Jones, who elevates it up and just beneath the drop-down scoreboard. All the way over the Syracuse line, Jared Tenorti back in the far corner. Tenorti up ahead for Cooper Flinton. Hands it off to Sturtz. Angles it up for Grondin at the red line. Try to swat it loose and does get it over the Rochester line. But the Emirates quickly turn it back up ice. Jones, hard around to the right boards. Popped in behind the Crunch goal. Tenorti for Ethan Sampson. Hands it off to Flinton. Scales it off the glass and out. Komarov swipes it back in the D zone. There is Bayreuther. Back for Komarov. Drags it away from Lucas Mercury. Pedals to center. Peltier has a stick lodged in his visor. A shot goes off the post. Rebound right wing. Rounded behind. Well, that's a scary one for Jacob Peltier. Puck to the blue line. Left wing for Bayreuther. A shot. Fanti made the save. Rebound. Lawrence in tight. And a penalty upcoming. This, I think, is on Rochester. I think. Cross check on Gertson as Mercury got drilled in the low slot. Mason Gertson now hollering at Lucas Mercury, but a power play coming for the Crunch. Well, 5:23 to the third. Crunch trailing by 1. Jacob Peltier, meanwhile, has gotten that stick dislodged from his helmet. It appears to be all right. I don't know if it was a friendly stick or an opposing stick, but he's making sure he's okay. And he comes out for this Crunch power play, trying to get the game tied. 5 minutes and 23 seconds into the third. Third power play tonight for the Cruncher, 1 for 2. Cross check against Gertson. Packer will take the face-off for the Crunch against Lecision. I'm sure you can imagine what's happening here. They finally do drop the puck, and it's taken and cleared down the ice. Ryan Fanti finally able to play the puck as he was in the restricted area. Now he's under some pressure. He swings it behind for Jacob Peltier. 15 seconds into this Crunch power play. Peltier bumps it off the far wall for Connor Geekie. Going down the ice and taken by Chafee. Centers. It got blocked by Bayreuther. Swings to the right point. Pekka keeps it alive and chops it down low. Bayreuther is there. Peltier steals, cuts out in front, finds a man. A shot golfed up high by Dylan Duke in tight. Back to Matthew Pekka, slides at center point, Geekie. Left wing Peltier, back to Geekie. Straight on, now for Pekka, right circle. Pekka surveys and shoots, save. There's a rebound in the crease. Back to Pekka, up to the blue line, Geekie. 1:10 left on this power play for the Crunch. Down by a goal here in the third. Right circle, Geekie. Chafee and Geekie play catch, a shot blocked, and then it's cleared. Anton Wahlberg is having a heck of a game for the Amherst, and he's got another strong play of the penalty kill. Crunch turning up ice, Chafee slips his way in, and it gets twisted around by Joshua. Puck along the left wall. Power play for another 50 seconds. Back to the left point, Ian Mitchell. Rolled across to the right for Connor Geekie, but a partial change to the Crunch on his power play. Back to the right point, Mitchell. He's got Pekka left wing. Really only Peltier has come off for the Crunch. Back to the high slot, Mitchell. Left wing for Chafee. Chafee shoots and scores! Play goal, Mitchell Chafee, and we're tied at 3. 13-12 left in the third period, and the Crunch get their second power play goal of the game, and we're all tied. So the power play delivers to the Crunch. Mitchell found Chafee. Top of the left certainly stepped in and ripped it inside the right post past Ratzloff, and it's 3-3. Mitchell Chafee has got an elite shot, as we know. And he gets his 24th goal of the year, and it's a 3-3 tie here in Syracuse. It's about 7 minutes into the third. Puck is sent down the ice, tipped in by Tristan Allard. Allard, Mercury, and Gauthier out here now for the Crunch. We'll see if the Crunch can build off of that power play goal, but the Emirates bust to center ice. 2-on-2, it's Helenius. Drop plaster trailing. Komarov, he shoots, and a save made by Fanti. Great stop on a 3-on-2 as Komarov, the trailer, jumped in on the rush. Puck far boards. Grosjev got a stick on it. Comes to Gauthier. Tries to get it out, but Helenius kept it alive. Good shift after a goal here for the Amherst. Dangerous scoring chance for Komarov. Crunch have the puck. Now Rochester peeling off a bit. Syracuse has some time and space. 12.5 to go. Here in the third, we're tied 3-3. Groshev glides to center. Groshev into the zone. A shot got blocked. Rebound pried loose, and the Amherst bust up ice. Olivier Nadeau over the line against Connor Geekie, right wing. Nadeau out wide. Geekie gets him into the right corner, but Nadeau flings it behind the net. Up the left wall for Zach Metza. Metza turns back in the near corner, up the near wall, up to the point, Noah Allen. His shot goes wide. Rebound up the near side. It's Lecision who gets bumped by Nick Abruzzese. Peltier couldn't get the puck out. He got dragged down. Metza keeps it, and now it's nudged out by Tenorti. Good stick high in the zone by the veteran defenseman. Now a pass intercepted by Abruzzese. He gains the line. He's got a man across. It's Geekie. He shoots. Great save made by Ratzlav. He squeezed the pads together on the counterattack for the Crunch. 11:49 to go in the third. Mitchell Chafee has tied the game on the power play for the Crunch. It's 3-3. Take a break on ESPN Radio. Tie Crunch in the Amherst. Mitchell Chafee on the power play, getting the game level, his 24th of the year. Ian Mitchell and Matthew Pekka the assists. Multi-point games for Chafee and Pekka now. Chafee with 1 goal, 1 assist. Pekka 2 assists. Rochester wins the defensive zone faceoff. Riley Fiddler-Schultz able to get it out of the zone. Chopped ahead by Trevor Kuntar. He's in over the line, left wing. Shoved by Ian Mitchell. Passed it behind Joshua. Trying to swipe it out in front. Nice play by Ethan Gauthier and Fiddler-Schultz. The Crunch get it clear. Nice pass. Chafee to Pekka, right wing. Players cutting to the goal. Pass down low. It comes off a stick into the right wing corner. Gauthier and Chafee both in the same spot, cutting down the middle of the ice. Chafee cuts. High slot. Right wing circle now for Pekka. Center point Mitchell. He shoots it down low. Just missed the stick of Mitchell Chafee. Pekka chips it into the right corner for Chafee. Rims it around on the left wing, up the left wall. Here's Petronero. Slips down low behind the net. Petronero spins back in behind the goal. Up the far wall for Chafee. Chafee gets bumped by Jagger Joshua. Puck in the skates, taken by Fiddler-Schultz. And he busts to center ice. Cuts to the middle of the ice and scoops it in. Rochester changing, so will the Crunch. 9 minutes into the third, we're tied at 3. Ian Mitchell back behind the net. Well, head fake as Graham Slaggert was about to pester him behind the goal. Now Slaggert parks at the top of the crease. Mitchell now forced out by Slaggert. Mitchell passes left wing for Sampson. He backhands to center ice. Settled down by Komarov, and a pass comes back to the left. Counterattack for Gertson. Left wing for Caleb Lawrence. A shot is sticked away by Fanti into the corner for Cooper Flinton. Gets tied up by Graham Slaggert. Now Lawrence in there as well. Someone's lost his stick in this scrum in the left corner. 10:20 to go in the third. Tied at 3. Still battle for it. Referee keeping a keen eye on things to see if that puck is still moving. Not whistled down yet. He's creeping it ever closer to that scrum. Thinking about maybe blowing his whistle, but not yet. They're keeping things alive for now. Well, it's a long battle and still not blowing the whistle. Referee the blue line put his whistle to his mouth, but still not blowing it down. Just whistle it down already. Finally, it's whistled. I mean, I appreciate and I give the guys credit for battling that hard in the left corner. Nothing is happening, though, and finally, after about 20 seconds, the officials blow it down. Stoppage of play, 9:47 left in the third. We're tied at 3 on ESPN Radio. Third period brought to you by Woodford Brothers. Do you have a wet basement, cracked foundation, or cold crawl space? Well, professional waterproofing is crucial to preventing water from infiltrating your home. Right now is the best time of the year to solve your problems. Call Woodford Brothers today and preserve and protect your home's value. Tied 3-3 with 9:47 left in our third period. Offensive zone face-off for the Amherst. It's slapped in behind the net. Dylan Duke gets shouldered down by Mason Gertzen. Puck in behind the Crunch goal. Grosjev ties up with Slaggard. And they go right back to work along the boards. Fans who saw this for about 30 seconds right before the break. This one is pried loose by Caleb Lawrence. Left point for Jones. Right point Komarov. Right circle Slaggard. Shoved by Grosjev. Back down behind the net. Lawrence pulls it out in front. Lost the handle. Dribbles back toward the crease. Poked away by Ryan Fanti. The Crunch unable to get it clear, though. Here's Lawrence. Feeds it across. Komarov shoots. That one goes high and wide off the glass. And an Amherst is down on the ice. Boy, in a ton of distress. I don't know what happened here with Gertzen. He's writhing around now. Gets back up. Didn't see what happened there with Mason Gertzen. It looked like he was in serious pain and then hopped right back up with 9:10 left in the third and heads toward the Rochester bench. Dangerous chance again for Komarov. Boy, Komarov has had a couple of glorious scoring chances in the game for the Amherst. Remember, he had that great look right after the Crunch tied the game at 3. Still tied 3-3, 9:10 left in our third. Face off to the left of Ryan Fanti. Rochester has pushed back, though, since the game got leveled. Crunch had a 2-0 lead. Rochester scored the next 3. And now it's a 3-3 tie as Nick Abruzzese loses his stick, trying to glove down a puck at center. He grabs it back, but the Amherst have control of their own territory. Mayruth left wing for Anton Wahlberg. Cuts to the middle, gains the line. Nice move by Anton Wahlberg. On his backhand, he feeds it back to the right point. Metza. Now to the Mayruth left wing, wide open is Helenius. He steps and shoots. It got blocked in front. There's a rebound of the slot taken by Connor Geeky, and he scoops it out. Not a strong play, though. It's picked off by Helenius. Right back in over the Crunch line. Matteo Piccinero works it free, and the Crunch look to break it out. Jacob Peltier swings back in his own zone. Has space and gets to center. Right wing pass to Ian Mitchell. Look out, he throws it up into the seats. Hopefully everyone's all right over there. Everyone looking around. I don't see anyone calling for any medical attention, which is good. That one, dangerous area over there in the right corner. Looks like everyone is okay. 8:25 left in the third, and it is still 3-3. A couple of, I'm sure, hearts that are beating a little quicker right now in that vicinity, though, as the Amherst win the center ice faceoff, and Zach Jones shoots it in. Around to the far boards for Jared Tenori in the Crunch. Tenori has it stripped away. A centering pass blocked by Ethan Sampson. So he got pressured by Carson Meyer. Good play, though, on a recovery by Sampson. He throws it off the glass to center. Gauthier chips it away from Lowen into the Rochester bench. 8:06 left in the third, and we are deadlocked at 3. Hey, fans, don't forget the Crunch have clinched their playoff berth for an 8th consecutive playoff season. The playoff flex packages right now. 10 vouchers good for any playoff game, starting at $270. SyracuseCrunch.com/playoff-flex to purchase your playoff flex packages. And don't forget, the $270 is good only for the first 2 rounds, and then the price goes up after that. So you want to get in quickly as the Crunch look to make a playoff run. Amherst get the puck into the offensive zone. Lifted toward the net, off the post by Nadeau. What a slick move, and he nearly slipped it inside the near post. Puck back to center ice now. Close call for the Crunch as they get the puck down into Rochester territory. 7:40 to go in the third. Still 3-3. Noah Lowen, right wing dump in. Did it hit his stick? Yes. No icing. Ryan Fanti plays it near side for Miller. Reverses up the near wall. Cooper Flinton racing after it to knock it to center ice. Here comes Dylan Duke. Flips it down the right wing for Flinton. Drives down low. Gets to the front of the net. He scored! Oh, what a play! And Cooper Flinton breaks the tie. A power drive by Cooper Flinton, and it's 4-3 with 7:20 to go in the third. It was chipped down the right wall. Flinton tracked it down. He lowered the shoulder, beat his man out in front of the net, and lifted it past Ratzloff. What a goal for Cooper Flinton, and it's 4-3 Crunch. That's a beautiful play by Flinton. He hit the edge instead of going behind the net. He cut back in front of the crease and scores to make it 4-3 Crunch. So they lead for the second time of this game. 7:15 to go in the third. It's 4-3 Syracuse. Puck to center is tipped it over the line by the Crunch. Lucas Mercury is there. He's got options in front. Goes in behind the net, trying to wrap it around. Got knocked away. And look out, the Emirates racing through center, 3-on-2. Caleb Lawrence gains the line and shoots. Ball off by Fanti. Rebound play back to the goal line. Grosjean has the puck. Scales it ahead. Komarov keeps it in, gets checked. And the Crunch get it clear. Knocked away from a line right to Tommy Miller. Miller will dump it in. Slowed up by Ratzloff behind the Rochester goal. 6:45 to go in what has been a highly compelling, wildly entertaining game on a Saturday night here in Syracuse. 4-3 Crunch. Puck to center ice. Here comes Fiddler Schultz. Slows up and races in. Backhands on net. Save made by Fanti. And he gets the rebound covered up right at his pads. 6:32 to go in the third. Flinton has not been a high scorer this year, as we know, but he's played a very big role. That was a beautiful finish for his fourth goal of the year. Remember, he scored early in the season, then went an eternity without scoring, then scored twice in Wilkes-Barre. And it's been a while again since he scored. Those two goals came on February 14th, right after the All-Star break. He's gone 16 games without scoring a goal. Picked a pretty good time to strike, though, did Cooper Flinton. Crunch have the 4-3 lead. Amherst with the offensive zone faceoff. Noah Lowen, left wing pass to Zach Metza. His shot blocked by Nick Abrazizi. Takes the puck and dumps it out. Now Jacob Pelletier knocks it away from Zach Metza, dumps it in. Abrazizi trying to shake off his left arm a little bit. That's where he blocked that shot, and now he's going to call for a change as Metza passes up through center. It's deflected in by Jagger Joshua. 6:10 left in the third. The Crunch leading 4-3. Ian Mitchell trying to make a pass. His stick broke in half. Puck to the far corner in the defensive zone. Gauthier couldn't clear. Held by Lowen. Finds Metza left wing. Goes to the circle. The shot just missed the far post. Back to the right point. Lowen keeps it alive. Mitchell still doesn't have a stick. The Crunch in scramble mode now. Now he gets a stick from Geeky. But remember, Mitchell's a right shot. It's a lefty stick. Here's Metza. He shoots. Caught by Fanti. No rebound. Oh, look out. Gloves coming up high again. It's Joshua and Petronero. Well, this kind of fueled Rochester in the first period, which is kind of the reverse of what we sometimes see when the Crunch and the Amherst play. Over the last few years, every time games have taken this turn, it's been the Crunch driving play. First period, it was Rochester that flipped it around with their post-whistle antics. All right, we've got a stoppage of play. 4-3 Crunch, 5:43 to go in the third on ESPN Radio. Crunch 4 and the Amherst 3. 5:43 to go in our third period. Pleasure to be with you tonight. I'm Lucas Vavani. Middle game of the 3-3 weekend for the Crunch. They will be in Rochester tomorrow in the back half of this home and home. 3:05 puck drop tomorrow night, or tomorrow afternoon at Blue Cross Arena. But a lot of hockey still to be played here tonight. 5:43 to go in the third. Offensive zone face-off for the Amherst. Anton Wahlberg, Matthew Pekka. Pekka wins it into the middle of the ice. Right to Mitchell Chafee, who accelerates and dumps it ahead. Slowly off the left wall. Swept away by Komarov, who now gets a help to clear it out. Back in the D zone for Petronero. Up to the neutral zone. Here's Matthew Pekka. Slips ring left to right. Into the offense is only backhands it into the left wing corner. Pekka in pursuit. Komarov backhands it to the near side for Jones. Up for Wahlberg. Rink wide feed for Komarov. Gallops ahead. Passes to the right. Costantini has a man across. A shot got blocked in front. Rebound to the right wing corner. 5:10 left to the third. Amherst have control. Helenius up the wall. Chafee defending. It comes to the middle of the ice. And slipped out of the zone by Sampson. Chafee tied up with Komarov right now. Back behind the play. Amherst have it at center ice. Jones curling ahead. Gains the line onside as Komarov finally got out of the zone. And around behind of the far boards. Off a stick. Comes to Rochester's possession. Now off a skate to Ethan Sampson. Up for Ethan Gauthier. And he angles it up over the right wing for Sturtz. Duke cutting to the goal. Sturtz trying to set him up. It got blocked. And it goes up into the mesh in the left corner with 4:39 to go in the third period. And the Crunch leading 4-3. 4:39 to go in the third. A faceoff coming up in the right wing circle in the offensive zone. Big Cooper flinted out here with Lucas Mercury and Dylan Duke. And the Crunch win it. Duke shoots it just high. Up to the left point. Here is Tenorti. Around behind the net to the near side. 4.5 to go in the third period. 4-3 Crunch in a back and forth game here in downtown Syracuse on Syracuse Canal Mules night. This puck is sent down ice, icing against Rochester. Data comes into the offensive zone. Off the icing against the Amherst. And the Crunch trying to capitalize off the icing. Off the draw, comes in behind the net for Connor Geekie. Taken by Nick Abrazizi. Up to the right point, Ian Mitchell. Walks and shoots wide right. Off the backboards, there's a rebound. Stopped, a second chance denied as well. Two big saves by Ratzlaff. I don't know if it was Geekie or Peltier who got the first attempt on the second chance. And then for sure it was Geekie on the follow-up. And Ratzlaff, who had lost his stick, made the save. 4:08 to go in the third. And it is 4-3 Canal Mules / Crunch over the Amherst. By the way, we got some notes from the AHL and Jason Chamovich. Last time that each team had a penalty shot in the same game, which has happened tonight, was back in March of 2025, Abbotsford and San Jose. Now the Crunch, it had never happened in a game for them. Rochester last had it in 2024 against Cleveland. Trevor Kuntar getting to the net. Gets it into the right wing corner. So it is not a common occurrence, and we appreciate Jason Chamovich for the information. Up to the left point for Bayreuther. Amherst trailing by a goal. The puck comes to Peltier, who backhands it out. 3:45 to go in the third, and it's 4-3 Crunch. Every once in a while, you ask and you get an answer. And no one better than Jason Chamovich from the American Hockey League. Puck in behind the Crunch goal. Here's Ian Mitchell around to the far boards. Up to the line. That one came out. It bounces back in behind the Crunch net as the Amherst pump it in and go for a change. 3:25 to go in the third, 4-3 Syracuse. And a 2-0 lead. Rochester scored the next three. That was all of the first. And now 2 third-period goals by the Crunch to retake the lead. Ethan Gauthier in over the line. Under pressure, keeps it alive. Nice move by Chafee. He shoots it wide left. Rebound Gauthier. Those two both have goals of the game. It's taken back, though, by the Amherst. They break it out. Lawrence for Wahlberg. Zips it in around to the far boards. 3 minutes to go in the third. Puck off the skate. Taken by Matthew Pekka. Up for Mitchell Chafee. Chafee scoops it ahead. Not too far, though. Zach Jones takes the puck. Then Chafee gets run into by Lawrence. And here comes Jones. Nice move by Jones. Left wing pass Helenius. At the circle, he shoots. It goes off a stick up out of play. 2:43 to go in the third. We are really getting down to the nervous moments for both teams. And a timeout has been called. Let's see who has called it. And it is a Rochester timeout. So Vinny Prosper will hop to the front of the Rochester bench and talk with his group. You would think a goalie poll is coming sooner than later for the Amerks with 2:43 to go in the third. Maybe not right after this timeout is called, although they are opening the door for Ratzlaff, so it looks like they are pulling the goaltender. This feels a little early in a one-goal game, but we shall see. Rochester, when they've had an extra attacker on the ice tonight, has been so dangerous. J.D. Forrest is at the crunch bench talking with his group. Rochester has 2 power play goals in the game. They had a long look on a delayed penalty as well in the first period. And Zach Ratzlaff at the Rochester bench. It will be an extra attacker for the Amerks. With 2:43 to go in the third. All right, face-off offensive zone for Rochester. 2:43 to go in the third, and it's a 4-3 crunch lead. So net empty for the Amerks. Crunch, 5 players on the ice. Matthew Pekka, Mitchell Chafee, Cooper Flinton, Jared Tenorti, and Ian Mitchell. Fiddler Schultz in the face-off against Pekka. 50-50. Off a couple of bodies. Comes down low. Spin around the far side by Tenorti. Held by Zach Jones. Worked down behind the net. Amerks have control. 6-on-5 advantage for them. 2.5 minutes to go in regulation. The Crunch leading 4-3. Right point Jones. Walks to the middle. Passes to the right. Fiddler Schultz head fakes. He's straight on now. Left wing Jones. Traffic in front. A shot for a tip. It didn't get on net. Boy, that was a close call, though. There's a broken stick for Jared Tenorti. Puck taken up and out of the zone by the Crunch. Here comes Cooper Flinton. Net empty ahead of him. He backhands a pass across. Pekka's shot was stopped. Oh, Fiddler Schultz blocked it. My goodness. And the Amerks save it and get up ice. Fired in by Fiddler Schultz, who saves the game for the moment, at least, for the Amerks. 2 minutes to play. Crunch lose the puck. Back to the right point. Metza shoots. Blocked in front. And it's thrown down the ice. Skipping toward the empty net, and it turned wide left. It took a left turn. No icing here, though. I don't know why there wasn't an icing. It must have gotten deflected, so 1:40 to go in the third. Amerks fire it back in. Fanti slows it up. It comes to Petronero. Near corner, he blows a tire. Thrown out in front. Stopped by Fanti. Rebounded behind the goal. 4-3 Crunch, 90 seconds to play. Helenius at the left point. Keeps it alive at the blue line. Passes down low to Doe. Rolls it into the crease. And they poke and prod. Finally, the whistle blows. Ryan Fanti had it the whole way. 1:22 to go in the third period. Wow! Cooper Flinton and Matthew Pekka trying to seal it for the Crunch. And Fiddler Schultz got there. Somehow blocked it just at the far post. What an effort by Fiddler Schultz, who is having another great game for him. He's got 3 points and give him a save to his name as well now tonight. So 1:22 to go in the third. Rochester's net remains empty. They get some fresh bodies out there, though. Partial change for them. Crunch have a D-zone face-off, leading 4-3. It's Lecision on the face-off now against Matthew Pekka. And Pekka wings this one back. Jared Tenorti up the far wall for Jacob Peltier. Chips it up to the line, and it's out. It's dumped down the ice by Mitchell Chafee. Too much on it, though. It's an icing against the Crunch with 1:12 left in the third period. Another defensive zone faceoff. That was a good faceoff win by Pekka. And a good clear by the Crunch. But Chafee just got a little too much on it as he tried to slide it down the ice. So another defensive zone scenario for Syracuse. Rochester, with the option, goes right back to the left circle. 4-3 Crunch here in the third. This faceoff comes right into the slot, pried loose by the Amerks. Up to the blue line for Jones. Left wing Helenius. Back to the point, Metza walks to the middle, passes to the left. Helenius shoots toward the goal, knocked away with the arm by Tenorti, and he leans on an Amerk in the left wing corner. A minute to go in the third. Crunch up by 1. Swirled around to the far boards. Chafee hustling across. Gets a stick on it against Metza. Works to the corner. Now Ian Mitchell scoops it ahead. Glove down by Metza. He plays it and rims it back into the right half wall for Zach Jones. Had it knocked free. Gets it right back. Turns it into the corner. 40 seconds to go. Jagger Joshua against Ian Mitchell. 4-3 Crunch in the third period. Jacob Peltier up for Mitchell Chafee. Crunch looking for a clear. It deflects into the slot. Taken by Tenorti. He chips into the line and out. And Peltier scampering it after it. Gets bumped by Metza. Pekka pumps it toward the net wide left. 20 seconds to go. Crunch up by 1. Peltier across to Pekka. He dives back into the right corner. Trying to poke at it. 15 seconds to go. Amherst get it back. Far boards. Chafee jams it into the corner. 10 seconds to go. Here is Zach Jones up the ice. One last opportunity. 5 seconds left. Through center, it's Helenius. He bobbles it. It's dumped toward the empty net and Petronero hits the empty net with a half a second to go, and it's 5-3. The Crunch going to prevail on a Saturday night. One final face-off, 5-3. The Crunch with 3 third-period goals. About to win a game after trailing through 2 periods for the first time since January, when they rallied back against this Amherst team. Wahlberg wins the ceremonial final face-off, and the Crunch win it 5-3. Oh, terrific victory for the Crunch. They scored too early. Things got turned around for Rochester in that first period. The Amherst scored the next 3. They took a 3-2 lead after 1. No scoring in the second period. And then 3 goals in the third. Chafee ties it on the power play. Cooper Flinton with a beautiful go-ahead goal to break the tie at 12:40, his 4th of the year. That'll turn into the game-winning goal tonight for the Crunch. And then Matteo Petronero salts it away with the empty netter with under a second to play. And the Crunch, for the second time in 3 seasons wearing those Canal Mules jerseys, get the victory. 5-3 is the final score. They look good. They came back and won it in the third period here tonight. And the Canal Mules come to center ice and salute their faithful. And now Jacob Peltier and Connor Geekie take their sprinting lap around the center ice logo. And the team heading toward the dressing room, where we will have a post-game jersey auction in just a couple of moments. But first, we'll get you tonight's 3 stars of the game, brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. We'll wait and stand by for that. Meanwhile, Crunch and Price Chopper are crunching out hunger. With tonight's win, Price Chopper will provide 200 meals to the food bank of Central New York. That's an impressive win tonight for the Crunch. And they pull within 2 points of Laval, who lost in regulation today against the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Penguins. So the Crunch within 2 points now of first place in the division. And they will play again tomorrow with the Crunch. One of their games in hand tomorrow, so they have a chance to pull into a standings tie points-wise. And the Crunch do have the tiebreaker on basically everybody, as they've won so many games in regulation this year, and that, of course, is the first tiebreaker. So if a win tomorrow, that would get the Crunch officially into first place in the division. Okay, we're standing by still for tonight's 3 stars of the game. Again, brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. A lot of great options to choose from. And we'll see who gets the official recognition tonight. All right, here they come. And the number 3 star of the game is Ethan Gauthier. Gauthier had a goal tonight that was involved in all sorts of different areas of the game. A solid night for him. Good early goal on the deflection that he scored. And now he tosses a shirt into the first row right near the Crunch tunnel. The number 2 star of the game had the game-winning goal, Cooper Flinton. And he was out there late trying to seal the win as well for the Crunch in the last couple of minutes of regulation with the Rochester net empty. So Cooper Flinton is your number 2 star tonight. Well deserved for him. And the number 1 star of the game is also for the Crunch. And it is Mitchell Chafee, who scored the tying goal in the third period. He had a goal and an assist. Mitchell Chafee, our number 1 star tonight. Again, brought to you by Surfside Iced Tea and Vodka. So the Crunch win it. 5-3 is the final score. Okay, I got to run downstairs now for tonight's post-game jersey auction. So with the post-game show, here's Eddie McCarthy.
All right, thank you, Lucas, and happy auctioning as the Crunch come up with one of the biggest wins of the year, and in the way it was the most special part about it was the way that they got the win, because they came out so hot in the first period, scored 2 goals inside the first 2.5 minutes, and then Rochester hit them over the head with a hammer, it seemed like, and the Amerks completely dominated the rest of the first period, took a 3-2 lead into the first period dressing room, and then the second period was scoreless. You'd still give the slight edge to the Amerks. And then you get to the third period, and you have a chance to start to build something. You get a golden opportunity to tie the game just 19 seconds into the period with a Matthew Pekka penalty shot, and he gets turned away by Ratzlaff. And all of a sudden, or all the Crunch fans in the arena are thinking, man, this just might not be our night. But this team just kept plugging away, and Mitchell Chafee got the game-tying goal. And then how about Cooper Flinton on a tremendous individual effort for the game winner? And then the Crunch give Flinton credit, who was part of that fivesome at the end of the game that killed off the 6-on-5. Rochester pulled the goalie at the 2:43 mark of the third period, and so the Crunch really had to do some serious work to survive playing 5-on-6, but they survived, and they moved to 83 points on the year and 2 points back of the Laval Rocket. Well, don't go anywhere. We're going to have some fun breaking down this one and going through our third period highlights. The Crunch get a big win. They've won 3 out of 4 as they take down the Amerks tonight to the tune of 5-3 here at home. Back with highlights on our post-game show next on ESPN Radio.